If you've ever woken up at 5 a.m. to watch the first pitch of the baseball season, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Start off by thanking everybody that sent me well wishes yesterday. Had an amazing day. And today, the Chicago Cubs started the 2025 baseball season against the Dodgers in Tokyo, and first pitch was 5 a.m. local time. We got to ring in the new year. Nonetheless, we got another market day here. We've got the start of the Fed meeting. We're going to get the results of that tomorrow. We've got building permits and housing starts here today. We've got some news being made. Of course, we have the March Madness tournament starting here on Thursday. So I want to hear if you folks have, first of all, any bets, but also, are you playing any of the gambling stocks? It's one of the things that I want to know here. It's a T3 Tuesday. Let's go ahead, get this party started. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook for March 18th, 2025 starts right now. Good morning and welcome back. It is great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. I hope that your week started off with a bang, a good one. We're back here now on Tuesday to get the rest of the week going here. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. Crimp Biscuit. Oh, Turling. Well, we're going to get to that in a sec. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Good to see you again. Yasin, good morning. Good to see you again as well. Paul, good morning. Welcome back. Barry the Goat, good morning. Anyone thinks SES going over $1 today? For you penny players, let Barry the Goat know what your price target is on SES. We can take a look at that when we get through some of the real stocks here today. Good morning, Barry. Welcome back. Jay Grant, good morning. Welcome back. Sun-Kissed Yogi, welcome back. Good to see you again. Sleep, Coffee, Trade, literally explaining my life. Good morning. Welcome back. Couch Potato, also explaining my life. Welcome back. Jim Ferrari, welcome back. It's good to see you again. Charles, welcome back. Chuck, welcome back. Terlingo, good morning. Up at 3 a.m. West Coast time. Opening day MLB. Dodgers versus the Cubs from Japan. Happy to have baseball back. Okay, Terlingo, I thought that I did a pretty good job. I normally wake up at 4:45, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna say I saw the first pitch. I'm gonna be pretty proud of myself. And then you just have to upstage everybody. Waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you must be a humongous Dodgers fan, being on the West Coast. I guess I'm assuming there. Cubs actually looked pretty strong, but gave up the lead there. Anyway, I too am happy that baseball is back. Good morning and welcome back yourself. Tanya, good morning. Welcome back. Bernhard, great to see you as always. Big of Bees, welcome back. Indeed. Let's go. Day Trader, good morning. Welcome back. You're on that West Coast too. Day Trader, you are up early here today. Welcome back. Ralph, it's great to see you. Welcome back. Asar, welcome back. Good morning. Anne-Marie Band got her coffee early, ready to go. We love it. Good morning, Anne-Marie. Welcome back. Dermog, good morning. Happy Tuesday indeed. Captain Cloudy, welcome back. Montoya, good morning. Fairchild, good day. Pinching pennies, good morning. People, don't forget to stop loss, not trade with emotion. Markets, that's right. That's right. Let's get this show on the road. Javon, welcome back. River, welcome back. Ed, it's great to see you again. Likewise, JJ, Tom, Ashok, welcome back. Crystal, good morning. Ed, good morning. Drew, Matthew, and Kevin, yo, good morning. It's great to see all of you folks. Let's dive right in. Let's take a look here at the SPY. Okay. So our plan, oops, did I go full screen? There we go. Our plan is still intact. And actually, someone remind me, I want to ask Anne-Marie about this later today. Anne-Marie, I might forget throughout the course of the show. So if you could remind me, I'd love to get your opinion. What do you think happens here? You're so good with the technical analysis and all of that. What do you think happens here if the SPY trades up another 5 to 7 points and find some resistance at that 200-day? I'm kind of thinking that we roll back over and retest those lows, and I am looking to set up a trade. We've talked about this trade for a couple of days, and we are getting it to materialize. Now, simply looking at these daily candles here, it sure looks like this bounce move, the bounce house, right? I think that's what we called it, the bounce house. It looks like this bounce might be slowing down a little bit. And so part of me wonders if we're going to roll back over. Of course, the timing here couldn't be better with the Fed minutes tomorrow, or the Fed meeting here tomorrow. We'll see if Powell has a dovish or hawkish tone, and we kind of got a break from some tariff talk for the last few days. So if that kicks back up today, we'll see what that does, or tomorrow, we'll see what that does to the candles here. But plan still intact. We're bouncing here. I think we probably run into some resistance at that 200-day, and we'll see if that sets up a decent swing short opportunity. So that's what I'll be looking at here today. Just some key levels to pay attention to from yesterday. Number one, I think we want to pay attention to the intraday low here, which is about right at the opening print. Got that at about 562.5. And then, of course, we want this upside level here, 569.75. We'll see if we can break out of this range. I would imagine that this is not going to be an inside day, although stranger things have happened before. We'll see which end of the candle we break out of here. Again, if we break out to the upside here today, we'll be looking to see if we stop at that 200-day and maybe open up a short position. If we break back down, we're going to have to assess if this is going to keep going down or not. So this is kind of what I'm looking at here on the SPY here today, and where we're at. Anne-Marie says, yep, tight candles and low volume. Okay, so we'll see where we end up going here. As long as those candles continue to get tighter right up around that 200-day, I got to think that we're going to be in good shape for a potential short, but we'll see. We'll play it by ear. We'll stick with our best practice here of playing what the market gives us instead of trying to predict what the market is going to do. We'll just play the hand that it ends up dealing us. Okay, let's take a quick look here, really quick. Quick look around the board at futures. I said quick way too many times right there. I'm sorry. S&P futures here down 0.3 in the pre-market. Dow futures down 0.2, and the NASDAQ leading the way down at 0.46% to the downside. So almost down 0.5% here. Let's take a look and see where we're at. U.S. futures show caution among investors ahead of the FOMC meeting. Nobody should be surprised about that. A couple of things that were notable in here. Where was that quote in here? Oh, he said Guess had earnings yesterday. Okay, so let's go. Ryan Dietrich busting out the stats as usual here. Back-to-back 90% advancing issues for the S&P 500. Again, another shout out to Anne-Marie Van, who's been giving us the advancers and decliners here on a pretty regular basis. Using NDR research, data back to 1972 shows higher 6 and 12 months later every single time. With much, didn't mean to do that. With much better than average returns. I'm sure this will make everyone mad, but it made me smile. So really interesting stuff here from Dietrich. As per usual, here's the chart here. The past 2 days were very rare and potentially very bullish. So I know it's tough, especially when you're looking at a market that's, you got a whole bunch of macro stuff going on, whole bunch of crazy comments going on, conflict in the world everywhere, markets selling off, but some of these stats tell us that there's going to be some pretty good returns here ahead of time. I mean, look at how much green is on this chart. Look how much green is on this chart. So I really love the research. I understand past performance is not indicative of future results, but we're gonna play the odds here. We're gonna put them in our favor. A buying thrust the past 2 days could be quite bullish here. This just gives you an idea over the long haul that how small and insignificant some of these pullbacks end up being in the bigger picture there. And I think that that's something that we should not lose sight of. I'm going to keep hammering that home really until we get out of this, until we get back to the environment where we can pretty much just buy stuff and it goes up all the time. We're going to try and be as tactical as possible here. A couple other quotes that I wanted to go over here. Meanwhile, Liz Ann Saunders and Kevin Gordon of Charles Schwab said in a note, quote, "The only thing we can be certain of is that things will remain uncertain for the time being." Okay. Thanks for nothing in that quote there. We already know that. Ed Yardini of Yardini Research highlighted that the markets could have bottomed out on Thursday last week and rose on Friday and Monday because there was no comment from Trump on tariffs. He said, from a sentiment perspective, it's possible that Thursday's sell-off followed by Friday's rally marked a bottom in the correction. Boy, wouldn't that be something? I still think we're going to retest that, but we'll see what the market gives us. Like I said, we'll be more inclined to call a bottom when we see the stock market move higher on a day when Trump blusters about tariffs again, which he did not do on Friday. So again, he's saying here that if you see a day where the market just trades up, even if Trump is running his mouth about tariffs, you might be able to say at that point, okay, bottom's in here. look at it. It looks like we're going for some more upside here. Any day, quote, any day without a Trump tariff comment is a good day for the market. We know that on April 2nd, there will be lots of reciprocal tariffs imposed on many more nations by the administration, undoubtedly eliciting lots of comments from Tariff Man. That's the first time I've heard Tariff Man being mentioned. Okay, folks, give me 1 sec here, just a sec. Okay, sorry about that. I tell you what, when you're solo and it is season changing time and allergies are a pain, you get something like that. Apparently, I offended somebody last time when I was sniffling, so I don't want to do that here again. Okay, let's keep this show on the road here. I know what everyone is thinking about is really, is this a bottom? Is the market going to turn around? What's next? Where are we going here? Fed put on standby while Trump put may be kaput. I needed to think about that because I knew I was going to screw that sentence up and just take some more time, and I was able to get that one out of there. Analysts expect Jerome Powell to pivot to a measured stance amid economic uncertainty. This comes for the first question for the group here. I would like to know, what do you folks think is going to happen? Is Powell going to be dovish? Is he going to be hawkish? How does the market respond? What do we think wow, I just said hawkish, and I heard the hawk play. That was really cool. I heard it again. Producer, is that you? I am baffled. I'm baffled right here. So what's going to happen? I want to know what you folks think is going to happen. Is Powell going to be good for the market? Is he going to be bad for the market? And then ultimately, what is the market going to do? How do we play that here? Ed Yardeni, again, the president of Yardeni Research, the Fed remains on standby and expected to act if inflation is around the 2% target and President Donald Trump policies lead the economy into a recession. So basically, the Fed is kind of going to play backup here, right? So I guess what Yardeni is thinking here is that if Trump gets too aggressive in his rhetoric, the Fed's going to kind of be able to control the back end there. So we'll see. He goes on to say, quote, the Trump put may be kaput and the Fed put remains on standby. So he's kind of explaining what he means by that, what could happen here in either scenario. When a sharp market decline risks economic damage, the Fed put implies that the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates. We all think that's going to happen here. CBOE Watch Tool has shown us that. So that seems to be what the market thinks is going to happen here. The Trump put, on the other hand, means that the administration would adjust its policies to avoid a downturn if the market's fears intensified. Now, we get no indication that that's the case yet. Remember, Trump himself has said he's not looking at the market as a barometer of his presidency this time around like he did in the first one. We heard the same thing from some of his cabinet members like Lutnick and Bessent. They've both been involved in the market for multiple decades. They've seen a lot. They're not shaken or worried about a 10% pullback. Although with that bounce, I think we're at like 8.5% now. So we've actually made some progress in the other direction here. Quote, I am expecting a dovish FOMC statement that signals the Fed may be cutting soon. I am expecting the dot plot to signal 2 more key interest rate cuts this year, end quote, said Louis Navellier. That brings me to our second question here. For those of you that are hoping or planning or waiting on rate cuts, how many do you think we get? How many do you think we get by the end of the year? Looks here like Navellier is saying we might get 3 rate cuts this year. I got to think that the market would respond positively to that unless inflation becomes entrenched. And I don't really think that that's going to happen here. But again, we'll wait and see how this plays out. We think that was it here. Excuse me. Furthermore, Treasury Secretary Bessent fueled concerns on Sunday, telling NBC he's unfazed by the stock slump, calling corrections healthy, but warning there's no guarantee that the U.S. will avoid a recession. So I completely agree. This is something that we've been discussing for a long time. I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way. A correction is really going to kind of set us up for some better trades going forward. We really kind of need that. We really need to reset some of these valuations here. In fact, one of the stocks we're going to take a look at here has a ridiculous price to earnings ratio. We need some of that stuff to be reset. And I think that makes a lot of sense for for the next stage here in the market, right? We want to be able to hold trades for longer than 5 minutes. I'd love to be able to make trades that aren't just day trades, and I'd like to see some better gains on that. Let's get back to a market where that makes sense. I don't think we're in there yet. Now, the next story here, I just want to quickly touch on the piece of news, but we're mostly going to spend time on the chart here. Reddit. Shares traded briefly higher on Monday after Google announced an expanded partnership with the social media platform. I'm going to need to lean on you folks for this one because, again, I don't use Reddit a whole lot. I really want to understand. I really want to understand how the stock trades and behaves and whether or not it's a good buy. And I just don't think I'm anywhere near that right now. So let me know, you folks that are familiar with Reddit, what you think about this. What to know? According to Reuters, the agreement will integrate Reddit content more effectively across Google products, signaling a closer relationship between the two companies and concerns that Reddit user growth is heavily reliant on Google search traffic. Despite the stock's modest gains, Redburn Atlantic analyst James Cordwell initiated coverage on Reddit with a sell rating, citing vulnerabilities in its daily active user growth with potential algorithm shifts by Google. Cordwell set a price target of $75, significantly below the current trading price, potentially raising concerns about the long-term sustainability of Reddit's traffic-driven business model. So interesting, kind of making the case here that they are doing this because the user growth is reliant on that. You folks let me know what you think here about Reddit. Let's actually go back to the chart here because I think that this is pretty interesting. Let's pull Reddit up here. You can see that we did really well. I mean, first of all, this thing's move to the highs was phenomenal. When this IPO'd back this is almost a year now. When this IPO'd last year, actually, yeah, we're approaching the IPO date. That was March 21st of last year. How about that? When this thing IPO'd last year, I thought, yeah, this is going to be really popular, so it's probably going to pop, and then it's probably going to drop. Well, it popped on like day 2. It dropped a little bit, but then it just grinded higher. And then when we actually got an earnings print, this thing really broke out of its range, took the next leg higher, and actually went to like 230-ish. Now, since then, we've rolled over. We've come all the way back in, and we've tested the 200-day, and this is ideal here. Now, to my eye, it sure looks like we came into the 200, we bounced, but it sure looks like we're rolling over now, at least to me. And this is kind of what I want to get from you folks. What do you folks think about Reddit here? Where do you think this goes? To my eye, it sure looks like we kind of roll over here, probably test this 200-day again. I've got this at 109.88. Let's just call it 110 for the sake of the round number. And then, of course, don't forget the $100 round number is actually within one of these gaps. Now, remember back to what Mark Petrino has told us, there's no trading going on during those gaps. So I think if this breaks the 200, you have a very, very quick date with the $100 price level. And if that can't hold, I think you're pretty much smooth sailing out here to 82 to the downside. So curious to know if you think that we kind of turn around from this bounce. Do we actually break this 200 and maybe do some more damage here on the Reddit chart? And then ultimately, what does this partnership with Google mean? And I think that's going to be the key takeaway here. What does this partnership with Google mean? Okay. Brandy saying no change in interest rates this round is my guess. This round. Okay. So you mean this meeting that's coming here. I'm with you on that. I don't think so. Joe here says zip regarding Reddit. No one uses Reddit. Stone cold short. Joe, I love the conviction here. I'll be honest. This is kind of exactly how I felt when this thing first IPO'd. I really don't understand. I get, for whatever reason, I don't think that I have an account, but for whatever reason on my phone, I sometimes get these Reddit notifications from some of the different subreddits. And it just seems like, I don't know how much value add there is here. It's hard for me to see a bull case here. So I'm kind of with you on this being a stone cold short. The only thing that's really kind of got me from reapplying the short here is because my initial thought was, boy, we're probably going to drop in short order. And the stock did exactly the opposite. Literally made me look dumb. So I just have to kind of reassess where I'm at here. Anne Marie, maybe we should take a look at Reddit for a potential trade here. Let you get the boxes out here, figure out where some of those areas are. Reddit actually might make a pretty good target for one of those option option trades here, whether it be a condor or a butterfly or otherwise. So I'm going to add that to my list here. We'll see where we go. Christy saying, I love Reddit. So Christy, that's great. Here's the thing. Like, I understand that there are people on both sides of this, which is totally fine. Let me know why you like it. Like, specifically, like, what value do you feel you gain from it? Is it just enjoyment? Do you actually get, I know some people, like, they have questions about technology and they go to different forums or maybe even Reddit and they get their answers there. Let me know what it is that makes you love it. Drew here is saying Reddit is a user data gold mine. Joe's saying that's it. People that love Reddit love it, and those that hate it probably. All three of them. I do think there are more than three, but your point is well made here. Good morning, Jane. It's great to see you. Harris saying Reddit and YouTube have nearly the same daily active users. Producer here, they have a system to make you sign up to see more, but it's easily bypassed by replacing www with old because they have two UIs. Interesting. Interesting. Here's the thing on Reddit. I understand that there are a lot of people using it. My big thing is going to be the growth. How many more people are using Reddit? And this is kind of why I'm trying to back into what is the bull case. Meaning for someone that does not use Reddit, like Joe's out here highlighting that people either love it or hate it. And Christy is confirming that for you. So that part I get. Whatever your feelings are, I get. But what's the growth story? How are you trying to bring more people in? How are we trying to grow this business? What are the mechanisms that do that? What's going to bring more, I mean, for lack of a better term, what's going to put more butts in the seats for using this? I guess that's a term that they used for movies and plays. You can't really do that with internet apps, but you folks know what I mean. What's the bull case here? To me, it definitely seems like Reddit is still overpriced. But then again, I think Meta's overpriced, and Meta just keeps giving me the middle finger and going higher every time that I think that it is overpriced. So in any case here, again, just to kind of recap where I'm at with this, would love to see Reddit roll over, would love to see it pierce its 200. If we do that, if we do pierce the 200, not only do I think that we go to 100, but I'm willing to bet because of the gap that took us above that range, we probably lose that level too. And that gap likes to fill down there, low 80s in there. So again, this is kind of what I'm thinking here on Reddit. It's easy for me to have all of these incantations. I have no position right now. We'll ask Anne-Marie about that. I'm excited to see this get back down to the 200-day, especially after that initial bounce. We'll see where we go from here. Okay. That was Reddit. One more thing here. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything here. It's X without Elon. Not bad. Market Sniper says restaurants use it too. In what way do they use it? Jane, I'm not a fan of Reddit for personal use. Reddit needs new features. See, this is the kind of stuff. This is awesome. This is how I love using our network for more information. That's awesome. Keep it coming, folks. Definitely want to hear about that. Okay, next here, really quickly wanted to mention this. Jim Chanos, famous short seller, slams Palantir management for continuing to ridicule skeptics while executives sell $328 million worth of stock. Okay, so first of all, just right off the bat here, I know exactly where Jim Chanos is coming. If you've got C-suite executives saying, our company is awesome, we're going to keep growing, we're firing on all cylinders, get the F out of our way, I totally get, then why are you selling shares? On the other side of it, I totally get it too. If you have your life's work and you've got millions of shares and the stock price appreciates thousands of percent above your cost basis, I mean thousands of percent above your cost basis, then what's wrong with selling some of those and booking some of those gains and letting you and your family live a more comfortable life? Like I get both sides of this, which is why I think I like Tim Melvin's approach on this the best. You can sell stock for many reasons, but there's only one reason you buy stock. I try to put more emphasis or stock, for that matter, into open market buys rather than open market sells. But nonetheless, Jim Chanos is making a pretty good point here. Quote, Palantir management continues to, okay, we already read that, sorry. Stephen Cohen, Palantir's president and co-founder, executed a substantial stock sale between March 12th and 17th, divesting 4.06 million shares worth approximately $328 million. That's probably to pay Juan Soto. According to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission filings, the data analytics company known for its software used by intelligence agencies and commercial clients has drawn investor attention due to these large transactions. Jim Chanos here with a tweet. showing that so the CEO Watcher, this is actually a pretty good Twitter account, by the way. I would advise that you follow that. If you like to follow insider transactions, this one's pretty good. Palantir president dumps $310 million of the stock, the largest sale ever is what that represented, the largest sale ever. Martin Shkreli has his opinion on that. I'll let you folks draw your own conclusions on that. So Palantir, this is quickly turning into a battleground stock. I mean, I actually want to say that it's already kind of been a battleground stock, to be quite honest with you, but it definitely seems like it is continuing down that way. So I still want this on a pullback. Let's just make it come back some more, right? Let's really bring this in some more. Still think it's incredibly overvalued here with its current price to earnings ratio and all of that. So let me know what you folks think on Palantir. I guess we should take a really quick look at the chart here. I also want to ask our T3 guest about Palantir here. In fact, let me put that on the list here. So here we go. We did bounce off the 100. Looks like we're kind of trading right at the intersection of that 50 and the 20. See if we can have the strength to break through that today, or if we roll over, maybe we can do that as well. We'll see. Sharp Carp. I like that. I will say I do like when Carp gets on TV and really just kind of aggressively goes at short sellers. That's just my own personal opinion, though. We'll see. Again, still this line, this blue line here, I know it's marked off at 61.35. Really waiting for that 60K or 60 level. Excuse me, not 60K. It's not Bitcoin. We're waiting for that 60 level to potentially purchase this one for a swing. Okay, next story here is going to be on BYD. They unveil a 5-minute EV charging breakthrough, strengthening their edge over Tesla's. Of course, the Chinese EV company. This did spike the stock. First question that I have for you right off the bat here. Do you think that this is legitimate? They claim that they can fast charge a car that gives 292 miles of range in just 5 minutes. And what they're saying here is that this time basically equates to the same time it takes to fill a gas tank, which makes a lot of sense. I think that's actually a really good target to go after. If you can make the time charging the same as actually putting gas into the car, I think you really kind of alleviate a lot of those worries about sitting there. The other thing that you might be able to do, if you're able to do this reliably, is you're kind of able to remove the need for having a home charger. So some folks that live in densely populated areas that might not be able to get a charger in their building, maybe because of the building code, maybe because the building doesn't allow chargers, because Teslas have or electric vehicles, I shouldn't say Tesla, electric vehicles occasionally have these really bad fire incidents. This is very, very interesting. My question is, how legit is it? Also, are they able to charge all different types of EVs? Meaning, is there going to be a system at some point where a Rivian truck can charge in 5 minutes, or a Tesla Plaid, or a Lucid, or something like that? Part of me wonders if this is just for BYD. The rapid charging technology will be integrated into BYD's upcoming electric models, further strengthening its competitive position against rivals like Tesla. So the big question that I ask you is, how much of an edge does this actually give BYD over Tesla? Do you think that this makes a material impact on the sales in general? Not being an EV fan, this doesn't even move the needle for me, but I'd be very curious to hear what you folks think about all of this. What do you think? Do you think that this is actually going to kind of hit the popularity there of Tesla, or is this going to make a meaningful difference on the bottom line? Would love to hear your thoughts on that. Okay, I think we might see a small rally before it dumps in Palantir. Okay, let's go back to the chart here real quick. So if we do get a rally there, the only follow-up question that I have for you, Captain Cloudy, what kind of target are you looking at here? Maybe this $100 level, $14 rally from where we're at right now, and then maybe it turns over. That would still produce a lower high on the way back up here. And actually, if we rolled over here and then traded up again, we kind of have the makings of a head and shoulder here. Just saying. So anyway, something to watch there. Palantir. Okay. What we got 1 minute. We got Adam Mesh from T3 joining us here pretty soon. Until that happens, let me just kind of go right here to Tesla. We were just talking about BYD. Tesla drops nearly 5% as Mizuho cuts its price target to 430. Peter Schiff asks, why is that bad news? I love how Peter Schiff just likes to salt people up on a regular basis. Pretty awesome. Peter Schiff here. Mizuho lowered its price target from 515 to 430. Tesla closed near 238, down almost 5% on the news. But why is this bad news? If the lowered price target is still 80% higher than today's closing price. Of course, we all know the answer on that. And so does he. But he likes to make some headlines, likes to get his tweets out there. I totally understand. But the other thing here, Mizuho changing its price target. Worth noting that it's not actually changing its rating. It's just adjusting the price target. We cover the differences there quite a bit. Mizuho cited weakening demand as it reduced deliveries forecast to 1.8 million vehicles this year and 2.3 million vehicles in 2026, down from the previous estimates of 2.3 and 2.9. So it looks like those are getting hit a little bit here. That's causing Tesla to have some of the price targets readjusted. One of the other things here is my favorite, Ross Gerber, longtime Tesla investor. If you've seen him on CNBC, his segments can be spicy. I guess we'll leave it at that. A longtime Tesla investor who has grown increasingly critical shared footage on Sunday of protesters outside a Tesla store in Santa Monica. The video concludes with his 9-year-old child saying, quote, "I'm glad we don't have a Tesla," end quote. Ain't that cute, Ross Gerber? Oh, man. That was a chef's kiss moment reading that here today. So let me know what you folks think here on Tesla. Where are we going to trade that? In fact, we actually want to ask our next guest about that. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get the chart back up here. And let's go ahead and welcome our special guest, Adam Mesh from T3. Adam, good morning. Happy Tuesday. How are you, boss?
What's up, Brian? How you doing?
Doing really good, man. Look, the first question, I've got a number of questions that I want to ask you. And if you have charts that you want to share, you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, I will drive here for you. Last time that we were on, we talked quantum stocks and we talked about the absolute killing that you did on them. We've recently seen some of these start to kick back up here. What are your thoughts here on some of these quantum stocks? Are you currently playing them? Are they any of your good setups? What do you think on some of these?
I traded Qubits last week. It had earnings, and it was Thursday it had earnings, and it had popped like 80 cents. And I bought the $7 options for 20 cents. I bought 60 of them, but then the market was weak on Thursday, if you recall, last week. And so I ended up only going out with 20. And then the next day, it opened up big on Friday. I was up a couple thousand, sold it, would have been up 5,000 if I held more. And now it's like I couldn't get back in, and it didn't provide an entry for me to get back in. So I made some money in that trade post earnings. But what it was NVIDIA had the Quantum Day conference this week.
Yep. But
usually the market doesn't work where it's like that logical. Oh, NVIDIA's Quantum Day, let's buy quantum stocks. They're going to go up because of quantum. It's usually not that easy, in my opinion. I guess this time it was. But, I missed it this time other than Qubits.
Okay. My question, though, still stands. Do you think we've got some more room on these? Do you think that do you think that this is over yet? Or are there going to be another kind of a big move here in some of these?
So I'm going to take it back a long time to fuel cell stocks. There was a time, it was a long time ago. I know I look young, but I'm a little older. Where I was trading the fuel cell stocks and like Ballard Power, Plug Power, they were exploding. Like the fuel cell was the next
F-Cell, Plug. I remember those days, Adam.
So I was in Fortune magazine because I made like $20,000 in 5 minutes in Plug. And like there was a writer standing behind me watching me do it. Anyhow, that was a long time ago. What I remember was they were in play for a while, and then they just became obsolete for a long time. The thing that I can't shake with quantum that stops me from being aggressive is that they say that it's a long time away. And so every time there's a sell-off, these things will go down. It's not like it's NVIDIA where it's now. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Their day hasn't come yet. And do I think they'll be a lot higher in 10 years or let's say 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think they're going to be a lot higher in 5 years. I think they already went up in anticipation, but we're not going to see a lot for years. So I'm not going to be able to hold the down moves on these stocks. That's what it is.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense to me. You're literally going exactly where I was hoping that you were going to go. That's kind of my issue on this too. I do think there is going to be another, let's call it another wave of quantum. I know this is D-wave quantum. Let's just call it another wave of quantum. But like you, how many years in the future is this going to be? I actually didn't even think about this, but your comparison to the fuel cell stocks is absolutely tremendous. I too traded some of those stocks back then, and all of a sudden they were just not popular anymore. It was a ghost town after the initial run. So it would be interesting to see if we get that here in quantum. Okay, good stuff, folks. Join Adam's free webinar and learn his 2025 strategy March 20th. That's one of the quantum days, by the way, March 20th from 1 to 2 p.m. QR code is on the screen. I'll go ahead and throw a link to the registration there in the chat. Here you go. Okay. So we talked about quantum stuff. We talked about some of those setups you think might be on hold here. Let me ask you then more broadly with the market, how are you looking at the broad market sell-off for new plays? Are you looking to maybe trade some of the momentum to the downside? Are you kind of waiting stuff out until there's a tradable bounce? Are you just looking for relative strength amidst a sea of weakness? How are you actually positioning and trading around the market volatility that we've seen recently?
The last thing you said, looking for relative strength in a sea of weakness is the easiest thing to do. It's the most low-hanging fruit. What's not going down, that's going to be the first thing to go up. That's always been my formula for these markets. But so one stock I really like for the long term that I think has held up well in this, when NASDAQ went down 13%, whatever it was, is Uber. Uber
Yes,
came back down. It's in the 70s. I like the way it's trading. It doesn't really want to go down, and I think it would take a bigger market move to take it further down. But I think this is looking like one of the better. That's like a healthy looking stock in this environment for me. That's what I gravitate towards as like what I would call a safe play.
Okay, really good stuff here. Uber is a show favorite, by the way. The stock gets traded on a regular basis around these parts here. So I'm curious to know what kind of setup or what kind of look you're looking at here on Uber. One of the things that I've noticed here is, first of all, we just had a golden cross, right? We just had the 50-day move up through the 200-day. The price is actually still above both of those levels. To my eye here, it sure looks like the next date here is going to be with about 75, right above that 20-day moving average. And then maybe we can take out 80, and what are these highs in here? 82 and change. So let me ask you, I completely agree with you. This has definitely been stronger than a lot of the other stocks, especially the tech stocks. I think we just got news about them expanding or partnering. Here we go. This was yesterday. WeRide CEO said he aims to grow fleet over 5,000 robo-taxis within the next 3 years, said to partner with Uber on the launch of robo-taxis in Abu Dhabi. We get international news about this. Clearly, it's really killing it. And obviously, the DoorDash, the Uber Eats angle of this has done awesome. This, to me, looks like it's going to ramp. You got any setups on this one? Spots?
Yeah, we have this on. And we did a pretty simple trade. And in fairness, though, we put this on when the markets were at their highs, and the trade's still doing okay. So what we bought was, this December 19th, 75 calls. And then what we've been doing is we were selling calls against it, collecting premium. And right now we're in we're short the April 85 calls. We had sold those for $1.44. They're down to 32 cents. So as long as Uber stays in the high 60s, 70s or up, this is going to be a good trade. And even if it goes lower, we're going to keep collecting premium and reduce our risk. So this is a safe trade. We eased in, and we said we're willing to buy more if it goes down enough. So we didn't even enter a full position. We entered a partial position because we're going out to December, and we did it in February. So it's kind of like owning the stock, but with the options cheaper. We have it for the year. We like to play for the year. and we'll buy more if it goes in the 60s. Probably that this would be one where I would average down, which is something I rarely do, just because we took a small position, acknowledging the market was really strong. It's a very, very comfortable position to be in. Anytime you could collect premium against the position, keep reducing the risk, it's easy to stay in.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. If you guys are a big Uber community, the one concern that got brought up to me was Waymo, because it's already going. It's in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
These robot driverless cars are really popular. How much competition? I'm just curious what everyone thinks about that.
Okay. So we do talk about that back and forth here, folks. That is your call to action here. Let Adam know what you think about the Waymo Uber competition. I'll say this. First of all, I travel to Arizona about once a year, at least every year. I've seen those Waymos all over the place. I absolutely refuse to get into a driverless car. Just straight up, there's no way I'm going to do it. And I'll tell you something else, Adam. Those Waymos pull up, they're Jaguars. They're not bad cars. Like, they are nice looking cars. Forget it. Forget it. I'm calling Uber every time. I've seen people get stuck on the way to the Sky Harbor Airport trying to get out of town in a Waymo. No, thank you. So at least I know it's just anecdotal. It's just one data point here. I have zero interest in Waymos. I'm not going to do it. Chat, let Adam know what you think there on that. Okay, real good stuff here. Sorry, did you have anything else? Go ahead.
No, I just like one of your people wrote in poor fuel cell. Yeah, all those the fuel cell stocks got destroyed.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Okay. All right. Did want to. So here we go. Waymo handles 1,000 rides per week. Uber handles over 33 million rides per day. There's some good there. And I think one of the things you're worried about there is there a gap to close in there, because that'd be something there. I'm not a fan of the Waymos. Forget it. I at heart, I'm a driver. I want to drive. Last thing I want is a robot doing all that stuff for me. Forget it. Oh, okay. Couple other stocks that I wanted to ask you about. Again, join Adam's free webinar to learn his 2025 strategy. That's March 20th from 1 to 2 p.m. QR code is on the screen there. Adam, I think you might have heard us talking about Palantir on your way in here. Are you trading this at all? Does this give you any type of setup here? Are you looking at Palantir at all in your regular trading?
You know, it's funny. We talked about this one last time as sometimes where a stock gets away from you. And this was a stock I had a lot of in the 20s, and we were trading it in the 30s and 40s. And one day it made a move where we didn't want to chase, and kind of lost it. And it's gone up so much in the last year that it's just hard for me to trade up here. I feel like there's a saying, it comes from horse racing, but it's I wasn't there for the wedding, I don't want to be there for the funeral. I don't think there's going to be a funeral for Palantir. It's a great company, but I have no idea. Like this is easily, if this stock wanted to go to 70, why wouldn't it? You know, It's still up so much for the year. It could be back at 100. I don't have a range for it right now. I wish I had gotten in and stayed in it, but I didn't.
Okay, with you there. I too feel the same. I traded this on the way up using options. It was great. I sold, I think I ended up selling around 60, and the thing went to 100 plus. And I was like, can I get some of my options back, for heaven's sakes? This is crazy. But I agree.
Ryan, remember what we talked about last time with Palantir? That nobody knows, nobody knows what Palantir is. Like, have you ever seen a Palantir computer? Some people have, but they're like military. Like, I think for me, that's the hardest thing. Like Netflix, you could look at and be like, this is awesome. I use it every day. Sure. I'm not going to go against it. Amazon, Google, Uber, but Palantir, for me, it still almost seems like it's very B2B. And so it's hard for me to understand it. Like, I don't understand the product. I know a lot of what they do, like military stuff, computers, but like, has anyone on here ever used anything with Palantir? I'm sure some people have, but I haven't. So it's hard for me to value that.
I'm with you there, and I actually consider myself old-fashioned in that regard. If I have experience with the product, I feel like I have more of a handle on the stock. Sometimes that helps me, sometimes it hurts me. But no, their Foundry platform, never even seen a screenshot of it. So with you on that. Again, another great call to action there. If any of you folks have used Palantir, let us know what your thoughts are there. I'm still waiting this out. I will try this at 60. If this comes back into 60, I will try alongside trade there. We'll see if we end up getting that, though. So, okay, really good stuff. Can't let you out of here without asking you about Tesla. I know that this is Red Dog's baby, or it has been, but got to ask you about Tesla here. We got some more news about Tesla here as far as some of its competitors in China go. Tesla's down here 3.6% in the pre-market. I'll go ahead and get rid of my drawing here so it's a little bit easier to see. You got any thought here on Tesla or setup here on Tesla? How are you trading this one, if you are at all?
So I'm not trading Tesla. I watch it as almost as if I'm watching the Qs or any other index to see how the market's going. So I definitely have it up all the time. I've never owned a Tesla, which is separate. I'm a huge fan of Doge. I love everything he's doing, cleaning up waste, corruption. I'm so happy with everything Elon Musk is doing, and I'm not that worried that the left is boycotting him. And I'm not trying to get political here because this is just I've been in this industry for a long time, and I know in terms of who's spending the most money, it's not the people that are it's not like the radicals that are boycotting Tesla that is going to hurt the company. So fundamentally, I'm not worried about all the arguments against it, but I never understood the valuation. Now they're saying maybe robots and stuff like that are going to be worth more. So the story is always changing, which is unbelievable. It's another one. If I could argue both sides of the trade, right? Like why it should be lower, why it should be higher. Sometimes I have no conviction. And if I don't have any conviction on anything, then I'm just not trading it. So like Uber, like you said, I would never bet against Uber. There's too many. Like they could win in so many different areas, food delivery, car service. Like I don't ever think they reach their peak. In my head, all I see them as is $120 stock. So I'm only trading that in one direction. And that's easy for me to have conviction with. Palantir, Tesla, not against them. I just, no idea. So I'm very like for me to commit to like a December call, I got to be obsessed. Otherwise, I'm trading stuff shorter term, and it's probably cheaper stuff.
Yeah, I got to say, first of all, I'm super glad that you said that because I often find when I'm looking at Tesla, I often find myself in that same area where I have no conviction either way. And the more I do that, the more it feels like gambling and the less of an edge I feel like I have. And eventually I just end up avoiding that. So with their 100%, interesting that you use it as a market barometer there. Okay, those were the stocks that I definitely wanted to look at here today. You got anything else that you want to cover before we send you off here for a great Tuesday?
Sure. Just going back to the quantum plays, I did want to say that in my the webinar we're doing, we do own qubits. We got in at $1.90. And so we sold some of the position on the way up. That's like a baseball card that you got like in the pack. So you don't really want to sell it because you got in at such a good value. So even though I think it's a long way away, what we're doing with that is we're collecting premium against it. We could always roll back the calls as long as we want because we're literally that one, our cost basis on the trade is less than zero. We're positive cost basis. We own it at nothing because of what we sold. So something that I will stay in it for years. I don't want to say I didn't have it. It's just to buy more over the next couple of years, I wouldn't do. So we have qubits, we have Uber. And then I'll mention one more that I really like. And we do a lot of different trades with it is Bitto, which is an interesting thing. It covers Bitcoin. It pays a huge dividend every month. And you could collect premium against the stock. So whereas I'm an options trader, this is one that I like as a stock trade, assuming Bitcoin stays relevant. And there's a lot of reasons why it should for the next couple of years. And it's above 60,000+. As long as it's above 60,000, Bitto will be relevant. And the fact that you could get that close to $1 dividend every month plus collect premium against it makes it a safe way to trade Bitcoin and something we've been doing and having some fun with. And I'm a big fan of that trade for the next year. Okay, real awesome, real good stuff here this morning, Adam. Appreciate it. Join Adam's free webinar. Learn his 2025 strategy. That's going to be March 20th, 1 to 2 p.m. QR code is on the screen. Link is in the chat. Adam, thanks for joining us here again. Good stuff. Can't wait to catch up with you next time. Thanks as always, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Take care of yourself. That is Adam Mesh from T3. Those T3 guys are sharp. How about that? looking at a lot of the same stuff we're looking at here. It looks like we're in pretty good shape, pretty good company here. So, all right. Thank you very much, Adam. Adam's departure leaves room for 13. Let's bring 13 on and see how he's doing here. 13, good morning. Happy Tuesday. How you doing, boss?
Oh, I'm doing much better. I got some good rest, ready to go. How's everybody this morning? How are you? How's your birthday?
Oh, dude, I'm doing great. And I got to say, not that anyone cares, but these last 2 years here have been, without a doubt, the best back-to-back birthdays that I've ever had. Just the experience, hanging out with people, the whole 9 yards. It's been phenomenal. I had another great day yesterday. I'll tell you what, man, when I teed off, it was 45 degrees and 30-mile-an-hour winds. It was rough, but we were out there. We were having some fun. And the first round of golf for the season in the books. That is a 2-year streak of me actually golfing on my birthday, March 17th in Chicago. Seems unheard of. Nonetheless, I've had a great start to the week here, and 13, it's going to get better. We got a Fed meeting starting today, ending tomorrow. And then on Thursday, we've got the March Madness tournament. So I'm probably going to get a Lou Malnati's pizza and not leave my house for 2 days. So I am extremely excited. And we got a couple of days here to trade leading into that. So what do you want to take a look at first here? Movers, do you have any stocks on your list? Do you have any news that you want to take a look at? Anything from yesterday?
Oh, it's interesting. You were just talking about QBTS. I was talking to my advisor, and they mentioned that, if you were looking to get aggressive, QBTS might be something you want to watch. And it's funny because we trade this one, all the time. We know about this one. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was funny that he was bringing it up to us, but he was saying, the quantum plays might not go away, but it's not going to be these smaller names. It's going to be the larger companies that you're going to want to pay attention to. So Google, Amazon, Microsoft, those names. They're in the quantum space. IBM, they're all working on stuff. They have some of them have chips, but this selling that we're experiencing here with the broader market, I don't think is done yet. So have those maybe on your shopping list as well.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Maybe you did ask that. The one follow-up question that I would have had for him, given that, first of all, that's the exact position that I think I'm in. I think the eventual quantum winners are going to be some of the big companies that we already know. Now, some technology, some process, some, let's call it a small cap or micro cap stock might come up with some piece of technology. My thought is there going to be any merger and acquisition in this space? And I would have asked the advisor, are any of these smaller companies potential M&A targets? They may not know. It may be too early in the cycle for them to know that, but that's kind of where I'd be going, given an answer like that. Did they hint at that at all?
No, we just we're talking about the more of the financials and how they've been having an increase in their sales, and they have like a bit of a future here, but we're not talking about jumping into this yet. And sure. We both agreed like now wouldn't be the time, especially after it's had a massive run just recently. We would want this much lower if we were going to even take a stab at it.
Okay. Good stuff there. Also with IBM here, this is another one that we've been kind of waiting on, right? We were thinking that the reduced government spending, the cuts and all of that might actually end up affecting IBM here. IBM is actually a pretty good amount away from its 200-day. So I'd be kind of waiting for this to come back in too. Okay. Anything else that you want to cover here real quick? We could take a look at the movers. We could do ticker time. We could do whatever you want, man.
Sure. Let's do the movers. It's not a very long list, but that's okay. It was easier on me to deal with.
I was going to say, I completely agree with you. It's definitely not as much or not as populated of a list. I'll say this. I'm going to be locked into my terminal more than I was yesterday, so we're likely going to be more active. I know I tried trading SOAR, one of these little kind of crummy stocks yesterday, ended up getting stopped out on it before it worked and then really got terrible. I'm not going to completely move away from some of these smaller names, but I feel stronger and stronger that the strategy that we have on TQQQ, SQQQ is going to be repeatable, and it's going to be something that we can do every day. I don't know that we're going to need to rely on some of these different catalysts that we see here that really kind of jump some of these stocks. Now, with that being said, there are obviously some opportunities in here. RGC, this is one that our group talked about and traded a number of times. We had a nice day in this yesterday, and then a big move here after hours. Let's start here with RGC. This thing, I mean, $19. This thing closed around $18.50 yesterday. It's up 56%. We printed above 30 earlier today. It's like we found some resistance here at 35. I didn't see any fresh news.
No.
Part of me wonders, and I don't see a whole lot of short interest here, but the last update that we had was from March 11th. Part of me wonders if this is just, after these last couple of sessions here, if these are shorts that just got trapped yesterday and were just forced to cover in the after hours.
It could be that. I mean, it could be just momentum, seeing as how the past few days before today was just a lot of upward volume. Especially that very first day. And this has been continuing to rise. It blew past the 200, blew past the 500-day SMAs. But, they hit that area that's about $30. And if you look to the left, you can see from 2023, there's a lot of consolidation right about where the price action ended, up near 30. So right into that consolidation there, that supply zone. That might be it for this for now. If this can hold the 500-day SMA, for a time, maybe it gets ready to go again, but there's really nothing, that I can see to like about this company that would make me want to hold on to it. The float is 2.4 million shares, so you are going to see this thing move around pretty easily. But beyond that, I just had a headline and then it just ran for a little bit, and that's all it's been doing. So I don't think I'd want to pick this up here. I don't think I'd want to own it really anywhere above. Above 5.
5. Okay. Well, so it sounds like this is going to be kind of a no touch, maybe stay away. We'll see if this gives us any type of technical setup here. We do have some volume here in the pre-market, but it's really not a whole lot. We'll see what happens when the regular session opens here. Real quick, just to kind of go back, we're going to keep hitting the movers list here, but just to kind of go back to IBM here, which we were just talking about, like this a lot. Jay here saying, I disagree. IBM invented microchips. New companies industrialized them into products. Goes on to say here, one small quantum company becomes the next Microsoft or Google because established companies can't develop products they didn't come up with. Calls this not invented here syndromes. Okay, so this is actually really good stuff. I'm thinking here that you then think, based on what you're saying here, it sounds to me like you think that some of these quantum companies, let's call them the winners, some of these smaller quantum names that end up being the winners might stick around and not get rolled up, right? You're thinking here that this is going to be a new piece of technology that's invented and maybe not even get taken over and instead become a huge company like that. That would be awesome, especially for investors, especially for early investors that happen to get that. Let me ask you, if I did get that correct, and I apologize if I misread what you're saying here, but if I did get that correct, let me know what some of your favorite targets are for that, if you have any. That would be really interesting here. Glenn letting us know that the Dodgers just beat the Cubs in Japan 4-1. Cubs starting the season out 0-1 here. Was looking good as they took a 1-0 lead. I'm just happy I got to see opening pitch here. Okay, well, while we wait for that, let's keep moving down the list here. The next stock we have is ADTX, and this is an oldie but goodie, I suppose you could say. We've traded this one a whole bunch here. Aditext is the name of the company here. Again, ticker ADTX. Aditext shares are trading higher after the company announced it submitted an application for 4 new federal funding opportunities. This is popping the stock here. Now, I didn't go through this news, but 13 on the surface here, it looks like they're applying for more government funding. They may not get that.
Right.
And so part of me wonders then, how sustainable is this pop? Nonetheless, we're up 30% here, 30.5% here in the pre-market. We've got 12.42% of the float shorted with just 1 day to cover here. So although we do have some elevated short interest in here, I'm not sure if this is really going to lead into a multi-day squeeze event. However, stock is extremely low float. I have a reading here of 315,000 shares in the float here. So 13.
That's because they did a reverse split yesterday, a 1 for 250.
Ah, there we go. Okay, so thank you for filling in more of the path there. Looks like we also have a reverse split catalyst. We've seen some of those recent ones move. So what do you think here on this?
I'd be very careful with ADTX. So yeah, they submitted proposals to the U.S. government for and it's several proposals, but the aggregate amount is 117.5 million, and this is for antifungal treatments or treating fungal infections. So and I don't ask me specifically about any of that because I didn't read too much into that part. I was more interested about what's going on with the company, and the reverse split is one step to regaining compliance. And not that I think that they're necessarily out of compliance. I don't recall seeing anything in the newsfeed that they had received a notification from NASDAQ or anybody. But the company does need cash. Then they just did a reverse split, so they're going through the motions of trying to regain compliance. So I would think that the next step, because this headline that they put out is to try to get the stock price up so they can do an offering. That would be my guess. I don't. The news is just a pump piece. It's just to get the stock price up. There's nothing definitive here. They didn't secure. And by the way, 117 million would represent like 100%. I'm sorry, 1,000% increase over their market cap. So I think this is just just something that they put out to get the stock to rise, and I'd be very, very careful of an offering coming for a company like this that just did a reverse split, that needs capital, and is trying to get the U.S. government on board to help fund their clinical trials for this antifungal treatment. Okay,
all right. Really good stuff there. I just kind of looking at the chart here. We'll see what happens at 6. It's obviously running into some resistance there. Really good job uncovering that this is just kind of fluffy. Might just be kind of moving this here initially. We'll see if this has any staying power. Really good. Jay, again, just going on with the question here. Jay saying, which one? I looked at as many as I could, and none of them look to be remotely profitable right now. At this point, it's a coin toss. I can give you picks in the near future. So this is kind of where we're all at, right? We definitely I personally do think some of the quantum names are going to get rolled up. You make a really good point here about them coming up with their own piece of technology and maybe really ascending to the next great technology company. And I wouldn't rule that out either. But I do think some of these companies will probably get rolled up. The second point that you bring up here, I think, is spot on. This is a coin toss because I don't really know what's going to drive this next phase. And I think we're so early that it is, in fact, a coin toss right now. No rush. Certainly not giving you any homework, but given the theme and how it's moved some of the stocks, yes, I'm definitely interested in some of the long-term views that you have on some of these stocks. But again, take your time with that. No rush for that. Good stuff here today. All right. Next on the list here, SCNX. This is Scienture Holdings. Scienture shares are trading higher after the company announced FDA approval of its NDA for SCN 102. All right, this did pop the pretty good volume here. Popped stock in the pre-market. First of all, excuse me, let me rewind. This actually had a pretty decent day yesterday. We had several pockets of expanding volume here that actually led to an appreciation in price. Today, we're having a huge move here in the pre-market on volume that dwarfed everything that we saw in the regular session yesterday. So that's notable. Next question here is it going to hold? We're right up here around the $3 level. We've got the VWAP here at 302. Will it hold either of those is the question. Quick look at the short interest here. Pretty negligible. 0.5% of the float shorted, 2.31 days to cover. But that's because the stock only trades 1.4 million shares on average. Today, it's traded over 21.5 million. I don't think there's going to be any trouble covering these shorts up here. And the float is 2.91 million. Again, ticker SCNX. So 13, what do you make here of the news that we got?
Same thing as ADTX. I think this is just another means of trying to get the stock price up, because what this news is on is not FDA approval of the drug itself. It's for the new drug application. They just got approval for the new drug application. That's all this is. So
we better PR it then.
Yeah. So you gotta actually read between the lines here and read what these acronyms are trying to tell you. Company has 2.91 million shares in the float. It needs cash. I think this is, this could be another potential, offering company that does an offering, trying to raise capital. Just be careful with ADTX and SCNX. They are, moving probably the best out of, the movers that we're seeing this morning, which is, a little concerning because they seem a little scammy. But, if they're providing trades, we should at least, take a look at them and see if there's some setups that we can try and capture some of the momentum. With ADTX, it was setting up. SCNX also has a resistance area around 315 that it's trying to recapture right now, and went as high as 340 in the pre-market. So if it does recapture 315 and holds above that, it may try to push up beyond 340 and up to the 385 to 390 area where the next resistance is. If we start to break down, we have 260 as the earliest support level.
Okay, good stuff there. SCNX, we'll see if that gives us a trade. I agree. None of these feel real great.
They're not.
My advice.
The movers list, the movers list is
careful.
not robust with good stuff.
It's not. It's not. But we will cover the things that are moving here, and we can do it pretty quickly here. Next one is going to be ARBE. This is ARB Robotics. Now, remember, we did see RR yesterday. We saw Rich Tech Robotics make a really, really good move. Now, it's given some of that move back. Part of me wonders what Serve did. This was another robotic mover that we've seen recently. Serve, this was, let's see, what do we got here? This had kind of a modest day yesterday, but let's go back to ARBE here. Click on it, Ryan. Come on. So, all right, we're still up 10% here. Let's see. Didn't have any news on this. Don't have really anything fresh on this. 8.4. Say again.
Earnings were not good.
Earnings weren't good. 8.4% of the float shorted with 1.36 days to cover. I don't really see anything going on here. Float is 69 million. I'll say right off the bat here, this one does seem like a pass. You got anything on this one?
I didn't cover this, but I can just tell you right now, this is moving off of low RSI. That's really the only thing that's standing out. The earnings were terrible, so this thing got hammered into oblivion. It's made new all-time lows. So now it's just coming off those all-time lows after the RSI went under 26. So it's pretty low. It started basing, it's turning around now. Where are we in the pre-market? We're at 3. So this thing, I'm sorry, that's not the correct stock. Hold on.
No, we're at 140 here.
140. Okay, sorry about that. So we're almost back up to where the supply zone from October to December is. That area, that whole sideways price action, right up to about where that is. So that's going to be one of the big areas that where I have a question mark of, are we going to get through this or not? I really don't know. It's a little bit of a heavier float stock, almost 70 million shares. Didn't really cover this one, so I don't know what the financials are like. It looks like they actually have cash compared to the other ones we were looking at today, but not a whole lot of it. Maybe a quarter's worth or two. So just not a whole lot of great things to like about this company that's didn't have great earnings and is expecting lower sales for this year. So.
Okay, really good stuff. Yep, really good stuff there. Again, I don't really think there's a whole lot going on here. We only have a couple more to go through. CanF, this is Can Fight Biopharma. This is trading up here. I'm pretty sure this is a pot name. I also noticed that CGC is on here. We take a look here at the news. We do have a fresh piece of news here today. Biopharma, receives FDA approval for compassionate use treatment of U.S.-based pancreatic cancer patient with anti-cancer drug. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that one. So we're getting a PR here. Stocks up just about 11%. 5.9% of the float shorted with 1.49 days to cover. Float here about 4.43 million. You have anything on this clinical stage bio company?
I haven't looked at anything beyond the first 3 we talked about because none of these are really even worth the time if they're only moving 10%. With
you on that. So CanF, we'll see if this gets rolling here. CGC is also spiking here or trading up here a little bit in the pre-market. Be careful so that your gains don't go up in smoke on that. And CRVO, which is one that we've recently had over the past several sessions here. Servomed shares trading higher after Canaccord raised its price target on the stock from 12 to 21. Several firms also maintained their buy rating on the stock. So CRVO, this continuing to move higher here. This kind of doing the opposite of what some of these smaller stocks do when we first see them on the list. We talked about CRVO here on Wednesday of last week. This is actually resolved. It's almost a double from when we've talked about that. So we'll see here on CRVO. I want to see how some of the trading action is. The pre-market volume here is pretty light. We'll see if this gets rolling here in the regular session. Okay, that's all I got here for the movers list.
Let's go to real companies.
What do you want to do?
There's a whole bunch
you
of
want to take a look at.
A whole bunch of folks were looking for different takes on some of these larger names.
I'm going to start here with Sale from Joe. We actually I don't know if you folks remember this, but we actually looked at Sale on its IPO day. This was the price history here is from a former stock, not from Sale. We actually looked at this on IPO day. Let me see if I can go back here real quick, figure out where that is. Here we go. This did trade up. It's since grinded down here. Here's my big problem with Sale, SAIL. I am not familiar with the company itself. SailPoint delivers solutions to enable comprehensive identity security for the enterprise. The company does this by unifying identity data across systems and identity types, including employee identities, non-employee identities, and machine identities. It's a service as a subscription, and its customer-hosted offerings leverage intelligent analytics to give organizers critical visibility into the business. So this is definitely in the cybersecurity phase in one way or another. I am not familiar with its product. I'm not familiar with this. So I'm going to need help from you folks. What do we think here? First of all, like we've asked about some of these other companies, is anyone experienced with the Sale product itself? And how does this stack up against some of its competitors?
My first, when you were giving the description, my first thought was, it sounds like IDAI. Or kind of similar to that, but at a much larger scale. Their balance sheet seems to have a good amount of cash, so don't really have a good read on their income statement here. Another almost 70 million share float. We're probably going to see some of these identity software companies or companies like also like T-Stamp that for identity verification or authenticity, because we're getting a lot of AI generated. I'm trying to think of the word, but there's a lot of fake things out there, with the likeness of real people. So it may be a situation where you're trying to cut through the BS to find out what's real and what's not. And companies like this might be able to help with that. I don't know beyond that. But this seems like
here's Big B's is hitting it right on the head here. There's a lot of competition in that field, so it's a no buy for me. So this is kind of what I'm trying to figure out. First of all, I do think there is a lot of competition in all of the cybersecurity field, which is why for the sector call that I made at the beginning of the year, I'm trying to stick with best in breed. PanW, CrowdStrike. I like some of the newer companies. I do kind of like Rubrik. Really, this just comes down to I am not very familiar with Sale. Perhaps I need to do some more research into this. One of the things that I am interested in, just in terms of like the trading action, I love that this thing. Okay, I was gonna say, help me out here. What's going on with the chart? I love that this thing IPO'd. Traded up, really didn't go crazy, really didn't have like a GoPro type IPO where it just did all this crazy stuff. And now it's kind of drifted down here. It looks to me like it's trying to form a base. So from a trader's perspective here, if this could continue, or if, let's just say that we did put in this $18 base, if this can continue to consolidate or even show signs that we're going to kind of trade up here, I think maybe this could be a swing, long side swing here. I just be kind of looking to see if this can continue to form a base here.
Yeah, it's looks like the company that had this ticker before got acquired.
Jay here, I appreciate this. Really quick, a Sale reminds me of Leslie and Wolf private equity deals that went public again.
The pool company.
So is this a no buy for you then, Jay? Because I'm pretty sure if I recall correctly. Well, maybe I don't want to speculate on your behalf. Let me know if this is a no touch for you or not. Wisdom here saying cybersecurity is just like crypto. It's full of rubbish and scams. Big Bees, who you're very well read and up on this field here. Microsoft, Dell, IBM have more holistic offerings. Even the second tier tech companies on identity. Google, the leaders quadrant on IBM or IDM, excuse me, identity management. Okay, so I'm. Let's see if the chart tells us what a trade is here. Not familiar enough with the product. Pretty good stuff here on the competition angle of this. No buy for me, says Anthony. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't hear about this one until you brought it up. So yeah, I'll join.
Well, we traded this on IPO day. I remember watching this on the morning that it IPO'd, but it really didn't give. It didn't. We didn't really sail, did it? Yeah, it did not really sail. Very, very good. We didn't have one of like the crazy IPO offerings, so we didn't really come back to it. But that's it. Jay here going on to say, yeah, a lot of private equity is overheated. Secondaries, I think the Leslie deal did a bunch. Okay. All right. Tyler, you want to take a look at Dell? Yep, we can absolutely take a look at Dell. Let me know what other stocks you folks want to take a look at here in ticker time. We do have 15 minutes until the market opens here. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a fan of any long side tech swings at the moment. I'm kind of in the position that we are going to sell off some more, and I wouldn't necessarily want to sit in that. One of the things that you've seen in Dell here is we did actually break out of this triangle. 13, I think you helped me draw this last time we took a look at Dell. We've broken out of this. We did find some support at the 500-day. Really, the next question is can we get back into this area here? We do have a 20-day moving average that's kind of blocking a potential gap fill to the upside. That fills at about 108. That also corresponds to about where the 50-day moving average is here. Kind of in no man's land here on the RSI. I will say that the RSI and the Williams percent are some of the oversold indicators that Tim Melvin is talking about being really good signals. These have worked so far. So what do you think here on Dell? What do you think of the chart? What do you think of the next possible move here on Dell?
Well, it looks to me like you have some pretty strong support around 87. That first drop down back when the yen carry trade unwound, that took us down near 87, kind of where that consolidation from the beginning of last year was in January and February. Almost down to that level again. So I'd be looking at 87 as a support area, but it seems to me like this is just getting ready to drop further beyond the 500-day SMA. The 500-day SMA has been providing some support for the time being, but I think once we make a visit down towards 87 again, we could fall through it. It's starting to, it's really forming a nasty looking bear flag here from the middle of February till now. So I would want to see this recapture 100, and that might help give it a lift back up towards 200. But I still feel like this is going to go lower.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. My entire feeling here, I think that a lot of these tech names really haven't seen some of the lows. By the way, we talked about this yesterday, I believe, Meta being the only one of the Mag 7s to not break its 200-day. I think this happens in short order too. I know no one brought up Meta here as one of the stocks that we want to take a look at, but just since we're talking about some of these other big cap tech names, I think Meta actually comes in towards this 200-day and probably moves to the downside. I think it probably breaks through this. And I would not be surprised if the rest of tech moved with this. I don't think we're done yet in the tech move down.
Personally. Yeah, I don't think so either. We'll
see. Okay, Google and Amazon. Next two on the list here. Let's start. We're going to do GOOG. I think I always go to GOOG because I prefer that to GOOGL. But if we need to look at one versus the other, we can. Izzy, I'm not sure if it matters to you, I guess I should say. I'll start here with GOOG. We had actually just talked about this being a potential, AI play, or AI, quantum, all of that stuff in there. Remember, this is what really kicked off the quantum theme to begin with here at Google. We are beneath this. What is this? This 160. What do we got here? 169.18. This was a key level. 13. I'm almost certain that you helped me identify this. This was the neckline from this inverse head and shoulders that now has since resolved as we went to new highs here. Same deal here with Google. I like Google. I find myself tough to buy tech stocks when my overall thesis is that we're still going to put some more lows in here. Find myself in the exact same spot. Key level here, the neckline there, 169.18. You got anything here on Google?
Yeah, draw a trend line starting at March 5th last year and draw it up through September 9th of last year.
March 5th of last year.
Yeah, on the bottom.
Right in here. Okay. And where? Right here?
Yep, that's
September?
Yep, and just keep it going.
Boom.
So we're right there trying to not lose this trend line. And I think that if we do, the price is going to likely come down to around 145 to 147, somewhere in that range. This is, you don't want to lose this trend line. This is where the support's been coming from for the past year. So if we lose this, that support's gone. We're going to come down to the 500, probably not even hold that. We might get a short-term bounce off the 500 day SMA, since that's about where the 2021 highs were at. So it's a support level going back a number of years. But if we lose the 500, then I think that we're going to end up seeing about 145. We're going to fill a little gap that we created back in March of last year, like March 19th. So we could fill that gap there before we start seeing the price turn around. That's if we lose this trend line, which I think is entirely possible.
Okay, good stuff here on Google. Joe here saying Google's at a good price here. I do like Google, and I do think this is a good ad for long term. It's tough. I think we kind of moved down as an entire sector here, like I was just mentioning. Now, there was also some news here for Google. Yep.
I own Google too. I want to add more of it, but maybe 160 will be a good support area. But until I start seeing some signs of an actual bottom being formed, that I'm not going to be really looking to add until that happens.
Okay, Izzy here. Google, it depends. Long term, no problem. Short term, 147 is a buy. So I'm with you on this spot here too. I think if Google gets down to 147, I'm trying for a swing long there too. Like I said, the entire thing that I'm currently waiting out right now in the market is a reset of some of these higher prices. And the first companies that I'm going to go back to are going to be the quality ones. Technology has always been pretty good for me. I'd look for those again here. The news here this morning, Google announces agreement to acquire Wiz. Now, not the Wiz, but Wiz. This is a cybersecurity platform, if I'm not mistaken. Google's parent Alphabet, to acquire Wiz in a $32 billion deal, its biggest bet yet. How about that here?
Yeah.
This surpassed the Motorola mobility acquisition. That was $12.5 billion. This is more than a double on that. How about that? Wiz offers a user-friendly platform compatible with major cloud providers serving organizations of all sizes with growing security needs. With Google's cloud AI and security expertise, it will become more automated, scalable, and cost-effective. Sounds like this is actually going to help margins and go right to the bottom line, this acquisition, if it's successful. I guess we'll see. Sundar Pichai of Google commented, quote, "From its earliest days, Google's strong security focus has made us a leader in keeping people safe online." Okay, we'll see.
Cloud security solutions. It's almost like you kind of were anticipating that theme.
Almost as if I called that at the beginning of the year. And one of the other things that I had said about cybersecurity, Bigaby's kind of touched on this earlier when he was saying that the competition in this space is fierce. Well, you know what that means. Ripe for mergers and acquisitions. Here we go. That's what we're seeing here. Okay.
Only about half as much as Microsoft spent on Activision Blizzard, though.
Yeah. Oh, God. Remember how good that was? You just want to talk about a good call. That entire fiasco was a moneymaker. You know what? It was fun. And actually, I never really commented on this, but I'll tell you this now. There was a period where I just kind of was reflecting on my younger life when I didn't make the best decisions. I thought to myself, Ryan, do you think that you spent too much money on some of those Call of Duty video games?
No.
And I was thinking I was kind of going back and forth. And then eventually I just had the checkmate move. I was like, no, man, you made a whole bunch of really good money off Activision Blizzard because you were following that story. No, it was worth it. The hours were worth it, and you ended up making money in the long side. So, okay. I was able to get over that one. Google here. I like where you guys are at with some of your spots here. I'm waiting this out. I definitely want to see this lower. 147, just to give you an idea, is going to be right down here. And this was the yen carry trade unwind low, thereabouts. Who was that? Was that Joe? Who gave that price? Oh, Izzy. Excuse me, Izzy. So yen trade low seems to be like a pretty good spot there.
Yeah.
Okay. Google, what was the other one that
Amazon?
Amazon, thank you. I think RL was asking about that. And then we can do, if we have time, we can do XPEV. I know that they reported earnings. So here is Amazon. We gave up the 200 day. Amazon, this one to me, also just kind of waiting for the market to bottom. This one, though, I feel a little bit better about dollar cost averaging over the long term. Again, big deal here with Amazon. I use this product every single day, whether it's something being shipped to my home or the Prime Video service, or I've been a Prime customer for, God, I don't even, 2009 maybe. It's been a while. Super familiar with this, not going anywhere. Love Amazon, long and strong here. Maybe this can pull back to the yen carry trade low. Got that at 153. We have the 500 day here at 166. I'd be interested at both of these levels. The stock here is a little oversold. So we'll see what happens here today. Amazon's moving lower. It does kind of feel like the market wants to roll over here today. I think maybe your next spot down here on Amazon, probably closer to 180. So maybe another 13 points from where we're at. We'll see. What are your thoughts here on Amazon?
It just has not had a really good time at all trying to recapture that 200-day SMA, and I think it finally ran out of steam trying to do so. So failure to recapture that. I mean, I still think it could try and get back up to 200 again, but it needs to hold over 200. That's been the big support level that we were looking at, I think, last month, and then we lost it. Haven't been able to really close above it since then. So to me, it looks like we could be going lower here. And I'd be interested to see what happens at 190. You know, we did get, we haven't quite printed that number yet, but we did get close to it before we started trading back up again. So 190 is going to be the next area where I'd be looking for some more breakdown action to occur. Looks like 180 might be an interesting level as well as 170. Not really seeing too many in the levels in between. I mean, you could say 177. Or 174, but I think for now, until another clearer level becomes apparent, I think it's just going to be increments of 10 that we're going to be watching for these levels.
Okay, real quick. Buffalo by Bicycle saying he's buying it right here. Again, looking at just going back to a couple of Wednesdays ago when we had Tim Melvin on here talking about oversold indicators. You're getting a buy signal here from the RSI, Williams percent R, and MACD potentially crossing. We'll see where Amazon goes here. I like this long term. Any ads or buys from me on Amazon would be for the purpose of a long term trade. I wouldn't, unless I'm buying options. I'm not trying to just make a couple of bucks quickly and flip the stock out of here. I'm trying to hold it.
I still own some of this too.
Yeah.
When I was buying it back in October of 2023, I still own some of it, and I did sell some when it was over 200.
Okay.
But I'm still holding on to it. I want to add.
Okay. Real good stuff here. Let's take a look at XPEV. I know, Jay, you were mentioning this. This did have earnings here this morning. XPEV down 4% here after a pretty decent recent run. One of the levels that I think it could very easily trade down to here is going to be this $22 level. I have a couple of things, former areas in there, and then also we do have that 20-day kind of creeping up to that level. So we'll see. Where the XPEV has recently moved off kind of these overbought levels. I still think there's probably some more downside here. Let's take a quick look. Looks like it missed on sales, missed on EPS, beat on sales. That beat was quite small. It's pretty much in line there. They expect vehicle deliveries of 91,000 to 93,000. This is up by 300+% year over year. Seems like a pretty good number there. Market not necessarily rewarding it though. You got anything here on XPEV? Do you like this? I'm not a fan of any of these Chinese EV. EV, I think, is just kind of a meh. It's not great.
No, and
Give me the ICE engine anyway. And if any of you have a problem with that, come find me and I'll teach you real quick about with my new ICE engine how dominant it is. Nonetheless, here though, not a fan of any of these names, and less so of some of the China names.
Yeah, I mean their outlook is supposed to be pretty strong for the first quarter. I think one of the big headlines here is that, and it's not necessarily with this company, is that BYD has technology that charges EVs in 5 minutes.
Yeah, we covered that this morning. Let me throw the link to the story in there so you can kind of refresh yourself. I know we're running out of time here. 13, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I just wanted to throw that supplemental document in chat.
No problem. As far as XPEV goes, I still think that there's a real concern with oversupply coming out of China for a number of different products, and this isn't any different. So I would be concerned about them meeting their delivery goals. But that's all I really got for XPEV.
Okay, Jay, I will ask you: do you like this? Do you like any of these Chinese EV names? Or I guess I should ask you, do you like them for a short? All right, we are open. Let's get right to it here today. Good luck, everybody. By the way, I am going to be watching SQQQ and TQQQ. I do not think that we are nearly far enough away from those VWAPs. Same strategy as it's been. When they get really extended from the VWAP, we'll try it.
All right, we're getting a potential breakout with ADTX trying to get over 610. It's either going to break out or fake out.
But that $6 level's got to be the key for me here, I got to think.
Well, 610 is where we've kind of been running up in the pre-market here. It did hit a high of 614, but 610 has been the big level that has not been able to capture. So we just ran up to that. I think that actually we hit 608. I think 610 is going to be the big level to get over. We start closing over that, this thing might go on a brief run. Remember, this thing is junky. Don't hold on to this. Just do in and out trades, because I think they could potentially do it in an offering at any point.
Okay, real good stuff here. Tesla, by the way, after getting pounded in the pre-market here, Tesla first move up off the lows there, dollar plus on that move higher right out of the open here, ticker TSLA. A couple of penny stocks moving around for you penny players. I don't want you to think I'm ignoring you. I'm not. I love all of you. Devs here, this is actually up off the open. That they had a small spike in the pre-market. That's trading higher here. LITM so far is holding its move higher. We'll see on that. And then SYRS is your other penny stock. This thing is raging here all the way up to 18 cents. Look out. LOL.
Tesla, yesterday we were talking about a couple levels that we could see some support at. 232 and 226 are the levels that I gave. Yesterday we didn't get all the way down to 232, but we did end up making a low of 232.80, so not too far away. Now we're in between those two levels. So I would expect that you see both of those levels, the 226 potentially as support and 232 as resistance. I think we could bounce around in here a little bit, but once we break out from either one of those levels in either direction, I think that's a direction we may end up going for most of the day.
Tesla trading up towards its VWAP here. Right when it got up near its VWAP, saw a whole bunch of repeat sweeps on puts, right? So they were sweeping up puts. Those look like those are the ones that expire on the 21st. Those are this week's puts. So it looks like they were option players were taking bets here on Tesla to the short side on that move up to the VWAP. It'll be interesting to see. There were a couple of things that I wanted to cover in the pre-market. We ran out of time. Damn. I will try to fit them in as needed.
INDP halted. Thanks, Market Sniper. This is another biotech company trading higher after it started phase 1 combination study of Decoy 20 with Biogene's cancer drug for advanced solid tumors. So this is in the oncology space. It's rocketing towards its 200-day SMA, which is at 140. So we are about 13 cents away. I
think this is going to open higher, by the way, on that.
It probably will.
Good call on that pop. By the way, at the same time as that happened, 13, RGC, the big mover from yesterday, halted to the downside as this thing pulled right off of its VWAP.
Yeah,
so good
all
stuff
those
there. Again, on the warning here with the junkier names, good stuff there. This thing moving to the downside.
All the ones we covered this morning are all going lower. RGC, ADTX, and SCNX, they're all going down.
Okay. All of those small movers moving down. But Lucid here. Look at Lucid.
Seems like EVs are kind of the play right now.
It does. Morgan Stanley here upgrading Lucid, giving it a $3 price target. We're 60 cents away from that. Lucid. I love. Okay, look at this article here. Let me see who actually wrote this one. I'll cite them. This is a Seeking Alpha article. That's about all I'll cite here. Seeking Alpha article. Lucid sell case confirmed. No profits in sight. That's
260 could be a resistance area in Lucid. If you look at a daily chart, draw a line at 260. I think you'll see what I'm getting at. That's also where the 65 EMA is on the daily chart. Yeah, right.
There is your 260. Indeed, that jumps off the page here. Real quick, by the way, did see some more Rivian calls getting bought. Rivian moving higher here out of the open. Tesla, I am still seeing more of those puts getting bought. Tesla completely gave back that initial pop right out of the open. Rejected there at VWAP. Lower we go here, TSLA. More actually starting to see some call buying in there. Still way more puts. Puts out. In fact, let me check here real quick. Okay, and then before I forget, Tesla here. Yeah, it's actually about 1-to-1 puts to calls. Puts outweighing calls here, but it's early. We'll see how that plays out. By the way, for those of you on Dollar General, I did end up adding to this position. So remember, we have a swing long here, ticker DG. This is a seasonality play. This is a consumer trading down play as the consumer continues to tighten. Here, I am long those calls again here. These are the May 90 calls, right? May 90 calls added yesterday to that.
SQQQ is absolutely doing phenomenal so far this morning.
Perfect. That means I want to take a look at the TQQQ and see if we're far. Yes, here we go. All right, let's keep this going. We are what? 83 cents away. I'd like this to be $1 plus away from the VWAP. Then we can try it again. The one thing I will say about this trade plan that we kind of have going here, careful for the macro events. It's great that we're moving away from the VWAP and then regressing back to the mean. And we'll try and trade that, and that's all great. But one day we're going to have a macro event here where the stock market either just keeps going higher or it keeps selling off, and these things aren't going to bounce. Be mindful of that if you're doing this strategy here. We are now over $1 away. Okay.
Yeah, and it might continue to go, for a little bit longer here. Let me look at the cues real quick, because I think I know where this is heading to. Give me 1 second. Okay. Looks like we are going to go to about 475. I think that's where we might start to see the sell-off stop if it doesn't happen earlier. This is
okay. So you're talking about a Q level here.
Yeah.
475 on the QQQ.
Yeah, I think it's trying to beeline right for that, and it might kick in a little bit earlier, but I think 475 is about where we're going to. Where the price is going.
Okay. God, I kind of want to try some of this here.
It is. Wow, we are really. What's the one that's driving this down? Is it Tesla?
Tesla is pulling still. Apple actually traded higher and reversed. Amazon is at the lows. Bitcoin is at the lows. That I want to see that move lower. Oh, please. I'm going to start looking at this at 60.50 here, TQQQ. See if we get any type of bounce here. This is pulling pretty hard out of the gate here.
Yeah, it's Tesla.
Okay, I'm going to put a small order out on the tape there at 60.50.
Tesla, the big, the weakest component of the Mag 7 today, almost down 6%. Everything else is it's less than 3% down.
Jay, I love how you called it earlier. You called it the Lag 7. I did like that. I know I didn't comment on it immediately, but I did like that. Okay, here, still watching SQQQ. I do want to roll through some of these other stocks real quick. Let's take a look at our halts here. RGC still halted to the downside. INDP still halted to the upside. What time did these halt at? 31. So it's been over 5 minutes. So it looks like 3 more minutes on these two.
Yes, we did.
TQQQ is bouncing already. I might have missed that entry. I might have been too greedy on that. That's okay. We'll be patient with this. Not going to chase.
Yeah, that was really good bringing up the TQQQ. But I don't know if it's going to completely reverse here or not. But I was really extended. So
Yep. And again, so again, real quick here, there's no rhyme or reason, right? The only rhyme or reason is that when these things become extended from the VWAP, they love to make a regression back to the mean. And that is what we are trying to capture here. TQQQ now rolling over here. That initial bounce didn't really do it. Still have an order out for a little bit. So this is a really good point here by Joe. And this is something that we look at pretty much every single day. We're looking at this. Everyone wants a crash. And cheaper, I like how you threw the stonks in here too, by the way. 13 is really good at doing that. So you're in the right spot, Joe. We'll just stay that. Everyone's expecting a crash, and that's why it won't happen. And frankly, I think that you're probably on to something there. Bonnie's saying, what was your play on TQQQ, but buy or sell a put? No. The play here is when this becomes extended from the VWAP here, adding a little bit of stock. And then when it bounces back towards the VWAP, which seems to be inevitable, we end up selling that when we sell into those pops here. There we go. Filled a little bit at 60.50. So small position on here. We're rolling lower. Let's see when we actually bounce here. Again, one of the other strategies that I've been using on this is in 13. You can talk about this too, because I know you've been doing this trade as well. I like to scale into this, right? There's rarely am I saying I'm going to buy a bunch of this right here because this is the dead bottom. I don't know. I don't know what the dead bottom is. So I'm going to scale into that, lower my cost basis. When it pops, we'll go ahead and sell it. We'll just won't let it get too far out of control here. I would say a stop here if this didn't work, 59.50.
it might be starting to slow down the selling here pretty soon.
We'll see.
In Qs. We'll see.
We'll see. Just not going to trade enough of this to really, really, really hurt me and make me panic.
Should be seeing INDP on halt here at some point. I thought it might have been halted by now, but it hasn't.
ADTX halted to the upside right at the top boundary there. It popped above 6 on volume, halted at 613. Look at this pre-market level that you gave, 13.
Yeah,
we're halted right there. LOL.
So we'll see what happens when it unhalts.
Tesla's bouncing. Izzy is telling us that Apple went positive. TQQQ up here now 22 cents off the buy spot. Giddy up. Looking for about $1 there if possible. I currently have the VWAP at 61.46. So I don't think if that thing got back to the VWAP, like if it printed 61.40, I'm out. And it wouldn't be a full dollar, but that's okay. We'll wait and do this trade over and over again here today.
Yep. It's been probably the easiest trades to make in this otherwise wild market. It's
been the only one that I have any level of confidence on. And so I'm just going to keep going back to the well. TIGR here, this reported earnings. This is up 6.5%. Rustam might have a heart attack if we don't take a look at RCAT here. RCAT getting pounded out of the gate here. Look, some of these spec plays, again, this is just kind of like the move down in tech that we're all kind of expecting. I think some of these smaller names that went on really, really huge runs probably going to move with that, especially in the absence of news or anything like that. Anne-Marie Band hooking us up yet again. Advancers to decliners 719, more sellers than buyers right now. We are seeing that play out here in the stocks. That is awesome.
Well, there's INDP and halted and going up to 170 and then pulling down to VWAP. Now through VWAP.
Okay.
That's quite a sizable gap there.
Interesting. Why I can't get that chart here.
Lucid looks like it's it could be bull flagging or putting in a bullish pattern here to go higher. As long as it holds VWAP, we might see a breakout move in Lucid.
Okay, good stuff, you guys, on INDP. For whatever reason, only that chart is not loading. RGC, by the way, this is now open. First move down here was lower. This is still open here. RGC moving lower.
Got support from the 200 EMA on the 5-minute.
Hans bought the Uber dip. Okay. Izzy, you missed Adam Mesh this morning. Loves Uber, by the way. Thinks that this has shown, and he's right, by the way, this has shown a lot of relative strength over some of the other names that we've been trading here. So we did get a bounce there in TQ. Oh, wow. Big pull down here in TQQQ. Okay, I'm going to let this settle before we think about adding on that. Big move down here. And actually, we're seeing other stocks move down more on that. Apple pulling, Amazon more lows. Let me see if there wasn't any news there. Is that just trading action? Nope. Don't see any fresh news on that print. Just another big pull here. Everything pulling. S&P futures down. NASDAQ down. Dow Jones down. Everything moving lower here. Uber actually moved a little bit lower as well. Palantir getting smoked right now. Also seeing unusual options, multiple strikes here. These are this week's expiry, but 78, 82, lots of aggressive put buying here. Palantir, ticker PLTR.
Look at Bitcoin go down, approaching. Well, it's not beyond 81,000 yet, but it's moving down pretty quick.
Here is your Bitcoin chart. We talked about this yesterday. We talked about Bitcoin really not able to get above this trend line and probably riding this down towards the 70K level. I would love that. TQQQ here breached 60. Looks like it's trying to recapture it here. Haven't added to this yet, so I feel okay holding it. An add would be a double up here. Man, we're already bouncing a little bit here. No, I'm not sure. All right, sorry, looking at too many charts here at once.
Yeah, SPY had a near bounce off 561. That's trying to reverse. Just a really nasty fall out of bed here this morning.
Yep. But we're gonna be patient. We're gonna wait it out. Lucid continuing to push higher here. We'll see if this can move above 250.
I think it's going to try and do that push right here. It's going to try. I don't know how successful it'll be with this market breadth, but it's trying to push up beyond 250 right now.
Anne-Marie saying weak buyers throwing in the towel. Indeed, it does feel like that.
Oh yeah, good point. Line Atlas.
I covered that yesterday. Were you here for that? I can't remember.
Yeah, I was.
So he closed that out. So that,
he did.
Okay. Yeah. So here, let me see. I knew I should have queued this up. And I have another Costco thing to show you folks as well here. Let me see if I can find this here real quick. Oh my God, come on. God, Twitter's or the X regular website. I just don't get it. I'm just an X Pro guy. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, let me see if I can find. I think I saved that. Let me see if I can find that here. It was a tweet though. Maybe not. Thank you, producer, hooking it up.
Looks like Lucid's putting in some upper shadows here. It doesn't look great. If it loses VWAP, I think this may be coming back down to 225.
Real quickly here, this was the big whale trade that we talked about yesterday. The position was open at an average entry price of about 84,000. Trader walked away with total profits of 9.46 million. Closed that huge whale trade out. 40x leverage, $517 million short position, closed it out for 10 million in gains, just about. So here, let me go back to Pro. We'll take a look at that. I'll throw this link in the chart, or the producer already did it. Never mind. Link in the chart. Way to go, Ryan. Way to go. Okay, TQQQ still battling with that 60 level. If this forms any kind of base here, I'll probably add and then sell into any pop that we get on that. I also need to step away for a sec, but I don't want to in case I miss something. Still struggling with the INDP chart for some reason.
Well, it's halted, so.
Okay, so it doesn't really matter anyway. NVIDIA, by the way, at the lows here. Apple at the lows. Tesla is bouncing off of the lows. The other thing that I really quickly wanted to cover here, okay, TQQQ is bouncing a little bit here. The other thing that I wanted to cover really quick is about my favorite store of all time, Costco. News this morning, Costco said to pressure Chinese suppliers to cut prices amid tariff hikes. So all that hand-wringing about tariffs making goods more expensive for the consumer, maybe not. Costco is reportedly pushing suppliers in mainland China to lower prices in response to the tariffs. Costco, which has 7 warehouses in China, is being, quote, very careful given the heightened tensions. We'll see what ends up happening this, but just know this is happening as we speak behind the scenes right now. Now, Costco here getting pounded out of the open.
Yeah, I mean, we already saw what happened with Walmart. Beijing said no. I don't think that's going to be any different with Costco.
Okay, we'll see. And then we'll see how these businesses react to that. Stanley here says long SPY. Okay, so it looks like some of you trying to play the bounce here now.
I mean, if you want to see how the Costco will react to that, just look at Walmart. That's how it's going to react to that, I think.
There you go.
Chrome Imaging AIFF. Is this one having some moves?
I can bring it up here. I do need to step away here real quick. TQQQ is bouncing. So it looks like the ad down at 60 would have been great. Didn't pull the trigger on it. That's okay.
Amazon.
Izzy said 189, the spot to buy there on Amazon. Sorry for running you over, 13.
Well, we were saying the same thing. It's fine.
Okay. Okay. That's convenient. HMR, it looks like a couple of you folks are trading this one. Another smaller, junkier name here trying to bounce off the VWAP. New highs now on HMR. This is the Marine Holdings. This had a shipping angle to it, did it not?
I recall it may have.
Yeah, I think we talked about this when we were talking about some of the shipping stuff.
ADTX, this one's really moving now. Got up to 7. It's taken off, this junky name, with very low float.
It is trying to break out from that 7 there.
Yeah, 725 now. Let's see. And as far as the other one goes, let's see, FCNX, that's trying to recover, but it looks like it's going to have a hard time with 315. ARBE, that reversed after getting down to 128. I'm sorry, 129. Trying to go positive here and break a trend. And INDP almost giving everything back after some halts.
Let me report that. I don't know why I can't look at that chart. That's the only chart. Crocodile Dumb Me says this psycho, referring to himself, just bought Google. Okay, so you're buying the pullback there in a tech name that you like here. So first of all, Google off 2.3% here, straight down. Looks like you're trying to catch a falling knife. Hopefully you got chainmail gloves for that. Chris bringing up TIGR. This is a pretty good stock to trade. This actually reported earnings here today. I've traded this one before. TQQQ busting beneath 60 here.
Lucid trying to break out, but it needs much better volume in order to do that.
Okay, I'm actually going to add a little bit here on TQQQ.
Be careful with ADTX. Don't get caught in this one.
Okay, new average here, 617, or excuse me, 6017 on TQQQ. We'll see if we get a bounce. Now I really have to, now that I've added, I really do have to stick with a stop there. So if we get down to 50.50, we'll stop out of this trade.
Prices are rising a lot at DG. Yeah, they are. The CEO, I believe, said that they were going to have slight increases to their prices. All right, looks like Lucid's trying to get going here, but still needs better volume than this.
DG still responding positively to that. DG actually up here by 0.2%, and this retook 80 yesterday.
And they're going to weather the tariff situation much
Yeah.
better than other companies.
Yep. And they talked about that too. And so did you, by the way. Shout out. Okay. 13. I got to step away for a sec. My stop is set. BRB.
No problem. In the meantime, what should we take a look at real quick? Tesla's still getting pounded. Let's see here. Yeah, now it's beneath 226. So I think that might give us our direction on where this goes for the remainder of the day, or at least a good portion of it. To the downside, I'd say I'd be looking at 220 next for Tesla. That's where we were getting some support down there. Actually, we got support there on Monday of last week, the 10th, 220 exactly. And you're saying 200's the buy? I have that level marked off as well. It looks like a pretty good spot too. I have down that in that area. I have 200 and 194 as levels. All right, looks like Lucid now breaking out very slowly. Don't know how much fuel they have left in the tank. Well, it'll probably be zero since they don't have fuel.
What's that?
I was making an electric car joke.
Oh, okay.
Lucid was breaking out. I was mentioning. I was talking about that one.
It doesn't have any gas left in the tank. Got it.
Right. Because
Still 250 going to be that spot there on Lucid if we can get above. And by the way, just looking at the market here, we are still falling apart here. SPY at the lows, NASDAQ at the lows, Dow at the lows. We'll see if we get a bounce.
Well, let's see here. What's the SPY looking like today?
Apple is already bouncing. VIX, by the way, 2231. Bitcoin is up off the lows, but I don't necessarily trust that bounce either.
So now we are actually bouncing directly off of that 561 level in SPY. I think we could end up losing it here if we continue to hammer it, though. INDP, that thing is not, oh man, that thing was great for the first 10 minutes, and then it's been ugly ever since. SCNX trying to get back over VWAP. This thing has not been able to catch a break yet. I just have this feeling like it's going to pop at some point and then come right back in. So if you are trading this, be careful with SCNX. ADTX, this continues to push up higher.
Did you have a support level? I can't remember on SCNX. We went through some of the junkier names pretty quickly here. 275. Did you have a support level here on SCNX?
255 is the earliest.
255. Okay.
Yeah. That's
yesterday's intraday. I got you.
Well, it's there. It's the middle, the very beginning of pre-market, and it's also the 65 EMA on the 5-minute. All right, so let's see. I was looking at ADTX.
Daniel saying, I'll buy Bitcoin again at 20K. Aggressive, but I like it. Lion mentioning that HD is going down. I would imagine Lowe's probably doing the same thing. Although this is barely moved. Lion, what on earth? These are down less than 0.5%. Come on now. Here, INDP chart fixed. Look at that return back. Oh my God, what a pop and drop that is.
Yep. All right, so let's see here. I'm just looking at ADTX, trying to get an idea of where this goes.
Sorry to interrupt here, but real quick, Anne-Marie giving us the goods. We are near the low of the congestion area for price action yesterday. Let me see if I can pull up the chart here real quick and show that. Here you go. We're near the low of the congestion area for price action yesterday. If buyers cannot hold, we are in for a rough fade. Okay, stop is set here, 59.50 on the TQQQ. Looks like I'm going to get blown out. But we're not gonna hold something for this to pull multiple dollars, and we will come back to this. Believe me, I will absolutely get my money back here on TQQQ if we do get stopped out here. Oh, it barely got there. It's close. Let's see if the buyers step in, Anne-Marie.
I'm starting to wonder if this is all we're going to get from the bounce. It might not be over, but we were looking for, we were talking about this since last week.
We were looking for a 200 day there.
Yeah, we were. We got pretty close yesterday, but I don't want to say that this bounce is over until I, get a little more confirmation with some more levels. But it seems like we're already weakening.
And stopped out. Stopped out of TQQQ. Watch it bounce right from here and just give me a middle finger. 0 for 1 here today. Believe me, I will be back at this here today. Still going to watch this. I still think that this is going to work here. VWAP here on TQQQ 60.81. Current price down here 59.62. So we are about $1.20 away. Normally, this is when we get a regression back to the mean. Am I going to get punished here? 20 cents off the stop. Joe, have fun at your 9 to 5. We'll see you next time. Good stuff here this morning.
Apple's the only one that's green. Oh, I was getting hammered, earlier this week. Just getting applesauced.
I can't looks like 13.
It still looks like it could go lower too. Like this might be, just another one of the recovery days.
Here, let me go back to that. Let me go back to that bigger chart. We can take a look at some of these here. I have a feeling I might regret that stop level. I might have just stopped out at the dead low.
Let's see what Apple does once it gets back up to 117. I think that could be the area that starts to really see a lot of resistance. You can even put a line there if you want that goes back through 2024 to see how that level's interacted with the
I'm sorry, what was the number? I was doing too many things at once.
217.
217 even. Let's get that here.
Your stop might have been fine with TQQQ. I see the SQQQ still climbing.
Yep, we actually are beneath. Your first stop is your best stop. Like I said, though, I'm going to not cry over stopped out trades. Just going to wait for another setup and we'll hit that. We'll get it back.
Looks like ADTX may be coming back in now.
Let me see where that SPY level was. I'll go to ADTX here in a sec. Yeah, so this is kind of what you mean. I was hoping we were going to get, I was worried about that 13. I was hoping we were going to get closer to the 200 before we rolled over. But you're right. Maybe we just roll over here. Now, the caveat here is going to be Fed day tomorrow.
Yeah. And I honestly thought we were going to get like a little bit more of a greener day today, like a little bit more of this push up before, ahead of the Fed meeting. So, yeah, I guess it's we're just selling early. But okay, so TQQQ still going lower. 59.34 was a newest print.
$1.30 away from the VWAP.
Let the market come in.
I was going to say, I'm just going to let it work. I'm not going to fight it. Biggest thing you can do, not fight the trend or the tape. You will lose. You will lose.
It seems like we are starting to get a little bit of support in the SPY, though. Let's see, what exactly are we looking at here? So it looks like some of the lows from Friday's price action after that rally was getting support there. So after 12, once we based.
Walmart has given back 50% of its move higher yesterday. Would imagine that that's probably the case with a lot. Costco continuing to go to the lows.
Yeah.
Bring that in.
Yeah.
Bring that in.
I saw that news and I was like, well, are they not paying attention to what happened with Walmart? Do they think they can have that kind of
don't you think that was smart of them to try? Are you just going to not try?
I guess that's a good point. But I mean, like, it's just, what's going to happen.
Part of me wonders if Costco thought or thinks that they have more leverage than Walmart. Yeah. I don't know the answer to that.
I don't either, but I think that they don't. I thought Walmart had the bigger presence. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it did. Walmart did come down to the 20%, level. It went down 20% off the high, and it's been bouncing. So so far, not a bad support area. But
Tiger, that on the back of its earnings, this actually just set another high here. Not in Tiger here today.
89 is a resistance area for Walmart. If it starts to turn around, come back up, I'd be looking at 89 as resistance.
Here is your Walmart chart. This guy, will lower rates help the market with all of this uncertainty? So I think that lower rates are proportionately going to help smaller stocks, right? The smaller companies that need cash, the lower the rate, the better it should be for them. Lower rate will also help things like solar. So I think that there are going to be pockets in there that you can go after.
And
The question is do we bottom before that?
It's going to help some value names as well, especially those that are paying a dividend that's higher than what the bonds are paying. So those kind of names could be very, very good as well for those that are looking for income. So yes, I think it will help the market eventually.
Quantum stocks are rebounding here.
Yeah, I've got Quantum Day in 2 days.
What do you think is going to happen? You think we get anything crazy out of that Quantum Day?
I have this is a joke that's been going around in my head. Like, what if Huang just comes out and says, okay, that whole thing about quantum, being 20, 30 years away, I was just kidding. It's right around the corner. That'd be hilarious.
That would be kind of a dirty move, frankly.
It would. But seeing as how NVIDIA's been doing a lot of dirty moves lately, especially when it comes to their graphics card customers, I wouldn't put it past them to do it.
That's true. TQQQ bouncing here now. This is the bounce that I would have liked after the ad. So it's just a little early on that. Good to know. Let me actually bring this up. We can visualize this here.
It does look like it's starting to turn around, does it?
Yeah. But here's the thing. I don't necessarily want to just chase this. Did we have anything that really is there any other indicators that are telling us that? Tesla maybe done selling off here. Love that Adam Mesh this morning, by the way, said while he doesn't trade Tesla, he looks at it as a barometer, almost like he would the SPY or the Qs. That's pretty sweet. He's not the only one that does that. Apple's still here at the highs. VIX off of its highs, although remaining elevated here, 2233 on the VIX. Dollar General above 81, new highs. That position is rocking today. Good ad yesterday.
Like, are we watching Tesla to see what the cultists are thinking?
Well, no, I'm not so concerned about the cultists. I'm just more concerned on the trading action, some of the different levels that it puts in.
This thing been it's popped above it briefly, but it's been hovering mostly under 30 RSI for some time now.
And the Williams percent R is also quite high on that. Here, I've got that here on my chart. Remember, that was one of the Tim Melvin things, or Tim Melvin indicators that we're looking at. Williams percent R here, minus 91, definitely in oversold territory. Oversold territory, I believe, starts at minus 80. This is minus 91.
Looks like
this is going to bounce pretty soon, I think.
Daniel was saying watch ADTX for a bounce. It looks like it's trying to do that, but I feel like this could, unless it breaks 760 pretty soon here, like this, like we're trying to do right now. We just don't want to see three candles, 3 5-minute candles end up inside this red one we had about 10 minutes ago. I think that would be a bearish pattern.
Okay, just curling back towards the top. By the way, I don't know, 13. I might have stopped out a little early here. TQQQ now 55 cents off the level that I stopped out at. This would have been an all right place to sell it at. Still have another 60 cents here for the target that we'd really like to see. This is bouncing here, and we'll see how short-lived this bounce is, or if it's short-lived. SPY also trading up off the lows here. NASDAQ doing the same thing. Dow doing the same thing. There's the little bit of, this is what we were looking for. So I was just a little too quick on the draw on trade one on TQQQ, SQQQ. That's okay. We'll tighten that up a little bit. Robert, mentioning Tiger, is this one that you trade? I know you're in a lot of these smaller names here. Are you in Tiger? Are you trading this one here? Really good move post earnings, up almost 15%.
Crow mentioning VINC. Okay. I think we may have traded this one before too.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yep. February 27th and February 28th, maybe.
Okay.
I remember Vink. I remember someone saying Vink or bringing Vink into the chat.
Just lost $1. Is that what we were looking for here, Crow? Is to see if it would go before falling under $1 again? Because it looks like the move would be to VWAP, but you tell me. All right, so is the TQQQ done with its pop?
Looks like that bounce might be over here.
Ooh, SCNX with a knife again. That one was just looking really weak today.
Yeah, Anne Marie, this is what I've been struggling with, in particular on this trade. In trading spaces like this, I often try to enter where my stop should be. It's a tough tape. So I'm doing this all in small size. So even when I take losses here, I'm not blowing myself up. That's the whole point of this trade. But you bring up an interesting dilemma, if you will, because I think about that too. I think, maybe I should just add a little bit here, lower my cost basis even further. But then I think, but now am I taking on too much risk here? It's that back and forth that's always got me. Unfortunately, here we had a nice little bounce that we could have very easily sold into. But that's all right. We'll get another setup here. I'm sure of it. My TQQ, this chart slowed down. Sorry, let me try refreshing here. I think something is off on that. TQQQ right about $60. Yep, there we go.
Andrew Senior TV mentioning TNXP is flying.
Now that's a small junkier name that we've traded before, TNXP.
Yeah, I don't know if it's halted, but the price action seems to have stopped.
So really quickly, I know this thing's $16. This recently, February 5th of this year, this thing did a 1-for-100 reverse split. And last summer, this thing did a 1-for-32 reverse split. A lot of dilution going on here in TNXP.
I think it was who was mentioning HMR. There's been a bunch of people that mentioned it, but somebody said it was ready for 4. Whoever that was.
Crow probably. Crow. HMR here is really moved.
Yeah. Yeah, it's on the doorstep of 4, 9 cents away. Great call. ADTX still trying to push up. It looks like it's trying to go for 8 now. I'm not going to chase that one. Good movement, but I'm not going to chase it. Let's see.
ADTX might not be done. Looks like it tested 8.
No,
there.
It's not. But I don't know.
Wow, another big pull there.
I don't know how much further it's going to go, and I'm not going to chase it.
Market looks to be rolling over here again. VIX still at 22.12 though. Tesla rolling back over to the lows. Here, let me see what the heat map looks like here today.
Probably going to have a lot of. That's a lot redder than it was yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Because yesterday all you had was like the Max 7 red, and everything else was virtually green.
And that kind of showed kind of a rotation out of some of that big cap tech that we've been talking about, wouldn't you say?
I think it was just an unwinding of the Max 7 and into some of the more value names. And it could be some exiting too. But I think it was
rotation into value from big cap tech. Okay, healthcare and energy look to be the strongest sector here today. Maybe financials?
With Lucid, if this can't get back above 245, I think this thing is going to fall really hard through the VWAP. Be careful with Lucid.
Price action is bananas. It is what it is. It is what it is. Which one were you looking at? Sorry, I can pull it up here.
I was just mentioning that Lucid. I think it needs to get above 245. And if it can't, then it's going to come through VWAP, I think, pretty hard. Could be putting in if you look at a 1-minute chart, I think you might be able to identify a bit of a head and shoulders pattern that it's putting in. So
take care of yourself, Wisdom.
Take care of Wisdom. So if the pattern can't get beyond 245 and invalidate this formation here, then I think that's where we're headed, is lower. All right, market kind of going sideways right now. HMR just blasted off up through 391. I say blasted off; it only moved 3 cents, but it blasted off through 391 up to 394. Very big move.
BNZI here above 130. We've traded Bonsai here before. CGC, this was one of our gainers earlier here. This did nothing. Stop me if you've heard before that a pot stock ended up going up in smoke and not doing anything. SNDL here, this is a little bit higher. QUBT, this is some of those quantum names that have really been moving. This did a really good job bouncing off of 750.
Yeah, we got the news for the marijuana, or the federal marijuana legalization, getting proposals or having proposals fielded at the White House. But I think if we're going to see any movement, it's probably going to be on, we talked about vices. I think it could be, that could be the reason why some of these are moving. People losing jobs or having hardships are going to turn to alcohol, gambling, and smoking. Okay.
Doesn't seem healthy, but.
No, it's not. That's not the play, though.
Yeah. I'm just saying, when things, go after, it's weird going after vices when things are not great. Anyway, just speculating here. Reddit, which we talked about earlier, down 10.5% here on Reddit. Let me actually go back to the bigger chart there, because I was asking you folks for levels earlier and what we might see here on Reddit.
I did it, Wisdom. I put the flag, I put the signal in the sky.
So real quickly here. Wisdom. He says goodbye. We both say goodbye. We talk about cannabis. He's back. Okay. All jokes aside here, Reddit, though, we talked about this one earlier. Remember, we had news here on Reddit. Google said it will integrate Reddit's content, quote, more effectively, end quote, across the products here. Called BS on this, or was, I guess, wondering what you folks were looking at. Told you that I think this is going to roll over and retest the 200. Well. Look at what we've got here. Let's see if we break the 200 here. 110 is your 200-day moving average here on Reddit. Again, we do have a gap below that is going to fill down here. Let's see. Yep, gap below that fills down here at about $82. RDDT Reddit. Actually, let me take a look at what those calls are priced at here. Puts.
Yeah, let's see. Who just said that. I agree, Izzy. Palantir, wow. Especially when you look at a smaller time frame. That's a bear flag.
Anne Marie, I think we definitely want to add Reddit here. Did I text that to you this morning? Let me see. No, I'm gonna add them to our conversation here just because my goldfish memory doesn't work so well sometimes. Palantir was the one you were looking at?
Yeah, when you look at a 5-minute chart, it's just ugly.
Rejected. What was the name of this cross again? 13, a 20-day crossing through the 50-day to the downside?
Oh, I don't have a name for that. It's only when it crosses to the upside is it a silver cross.
Okay, then it's a bronze cross. Fine.
Okay.
I don't know. I just came up with something. Anyway.
It's a lost cross. How about that?
What?
A lost cross. How about that?
A lost cross. Okay. We'll go with that. Palantir here, by the way, volume point of control on Palantir, 74.5. I'm still waiting out 60 on Palantir. You were looking at the 5. Here you go.
Yeah, that's not a good looking formation.
So you think this is going to break lower here? Maybe that volume point of control will come into play here.
Yeah, I think I don't know that it happens today, but it looks to me like this wants to go back under 80.
Looking at I'll tell you what, it looks like the market is trying to bottom intraday here. See if that ends up holding. Tesla's still moving lower.
Is the market trying to bottom, or are we printing new lows?
Well, that's what I mean. It looks like the sell-off is like trying to like stop, at least to my eye. I mean, maybe it's just my bias. I don't know. And looking at I'll tell you something else. We were just having a conversation about stop zones being potential buy zones. TQQQ here doing everything it can to stay right at that 59.50 area that I stopped out.
Quantum of death crosses when the 50 crosses the 200 to the downside, not the 20 crossing the 50.
And Daniel asking Ryan, please explain why you're waiting for 60 on Palantir. Okay, I'd be happy to. Here's the daily chart of Palantir. One of the areas where you see that this really broke away and created this huge run here, I have it marked off at 61.35, but realistically, I'm looking for 60 here. If we zoom in a little bit more, Daniel, you'll see that the way I drew this line, you could see it's kind of like through this area here. If I put my cursor like right here, it's about $60. So I basically just targeted a round number from a previous breakout spot that we had here. I also like that, you know, when you look at like right in here, we're like, if I look back to really like the big run that this thing started to make, right? We still have that volume point of control in here at about 75. So if we overshoot this at all, I kind of like 60. Also, keep in mind that the 200-day is down here at 53. If I added there at 60 and we traded down and held the 200-day, I would add to that long position there. Let me know if this answers your question, Daniel.
ADTX, put in some upper shadows. Be careful with this one. It could turn around on us. SCNX, this thing continues to go lower. Probably done for today.
Let me see if I can bring that up here.
TNXP, I don't see a whole lot of price action here, but this thing is making massive moves. So this illiquidity has me worried. I wouldn't want to try to grab some of this with any market order because it might be significantly out of the range you're hoping. But that's TNXP is still moving up, hasn't slowed down yet, but also not getting a lot of volume either.
Izzy screaming at me. You don't have to yell, Izzy. I got you. Lyft with another upgrade. Why? Look, I think that people are. I think that traders or analysts think that there's a gap to close here on Lyft. Now, looking at the price action here today, down almost 4% here today. What upgrade? I mean, what upgrade? Lyft price target lowered to 20 from 23 at Loop Capital.
Well, you know how some of these upgrades can.
Bernstein remains a hold. I don't see an upgrade here.
You know how some of the upgrades or price targets can cause the stock to move, right? So I think that's just giving it some liquidity so that people can exit.
Oh, God, I'm trying to like stupid. All right. Stanley saying that the SPY is possible supports. This is kind of what I meant earlier, 13, about the near-term bottom or bottoming intraday. It really does kind of look like it's trying to hold on to the support here. And it's got me looking at TQQQ. I really don't want to chase. The thing about this sideways trading is that this is giving time for the VWAP to come in to this area here. So we're less than $1 now. Generally speaking, the way that this trade has worked for me is when the VWAP and the price are far apart. Now that didn't on the first attempt, but I'm still going to wait this out. Maybe the market does kind of bounce here and that would make TQQQ a potentially good trade here. I don't know that that's going to happen. The thesis here is too much extension from the VWAP. We don't have those conditions right now.
Yeah, it is looking like it's trying to turn around here. So I would say somewhere in it's 561 and 60 something cents that it's trying to recapture. That's kind of where it's been running into trouble every time it's come back up. So we'll see what happens if it can get back up there. I would like to see if we are going to recover. I'd like to see a recapture of 562.
Okay. At least you're giving that to us. Lion, what happened to the Godfather? Story trading is Wednesday. As far as I know, he's doing fine. I don't know of any news. Well, I guess we'll find out tomorrow. When story trade. Shout out to the story trading guys, by the way. Buyers are we read the same comment at the same time, 13. I'll take it. Market is trying to bounce here a little bit. NASDAQ, SPY, Dow, they're trying.
So looking through some of these movers here, ADTX put in some upper shadows here over the past 15 minutes. This might be coming in. Watch for a loss of VWAP. SCNX, this thing has been going nowhere but south since 1010. ARBE, this is actually breaking a trend. This could end up get going here. ARBE. I drew a trend line from the pre-market high of 551, drew it through the high we got at 9 o'clock, and just kept that going, and now we're breaking that trend. There you go, just like that. So we might get some better movement out of here if we can hold above this trend line. And then let's see, TNXP, that continues to make illiquid highs.
Illiquid highs. Take that. Take that.
Lucid has not lost its VWAP yet, still hanging in there, but not really blasting off either. So still unsure about which direction this ultimately heads.
Smoke Tuna, I've glanced over at the chat 3 times now, and I've found your buys stepping in at 560 exclamation point, and my brain each time has read that as 560i, as in a BMW 560i, and I was like, they don't make a 560i. What's the matter with me? Anyway, that was a good call there at 560, as we are still holding that. You said 562 you wanted SPY to get above, right?
I would want to see it recapture 562.
Recapture?
Yeah. If you look at the 5-minute chart when we opened,
let me do it.
Yeah, when we opened, we went right through that level, and then at 9:45, that 5-minute candle, that's when we started trying to recapture that. For the next 10 minutes, we could not recapture, and we went lower. So now that we're coming back up here, we're going to want to see that recaptured as part of the recovery effort.
562.20 is your VWAP, so that's pretty good right there. HMR boom, is this going?
Still hasn't hit 4, but it looks like it's still possible.
I tell you what, these wicks make me think this is slowing down. Pretty much the inverse of what I was talking about on SPY, where I kind of felt like it was making that intraday bottom. This actually feels like it might be coming up to resistance there around 4. See if it does get 4. That was a good call, whoever said that earlier. Are you guys trading this? Is this the? I haven't even really looked at any of the junkier names today. Are you got which is the best one? ADTX, HMR? Which is the best one here today?
ADTX has provided some trades. I took one.
Okay.
So that's really the only ones of the junky names I've traded today. RGC has done nothing but go down. I mean, it had a pop and then dropped. And then, of course, SCNX has done nothing but get rejected at every turn.
Sorry, let me handle something here.
No worries. I'm just reading some of these comments here. Smoke Tuna saying, look at daily SPY volumes. Today is not the biggest selling volume, so maybe SPY might be defended by the 560. And it was funny, I was watching the volume yesterday in SPY, and we got like 15% of the whole day's volume in the last 10 minutes. It was really funny. The biggest spike in volume came at the end there. And that's probably not a bad idea, because the junky names have not been there's not been a really good list of them lately in this selling environment that we're in with the market. And even these the runners that we do have don't go on these wild extended runs like we're having late last year, where you could say, oh, I think this $2 stock's going to 40, and it went to 40. We're not going to get a lot of those lately, right now, not in this market, I don't think. WLDS, it might be setting up, says Smoke Tuna.
I'm back. Sorry about that. Thank you. WLDS, wilds is what I like to call this, wearable devices.
So this is obviously a competitor with Apple, right? In the wearable space.
Wait a sec though. Didn't this pop on an Apple headline?
I don't know.
Here, let me try something here. Let's have Benzinga Pro help me out here. I have to click on the right things for this to be any example worth its salt. WLDS, you're going to get the answer first. I don't care. AP.
No, I was just saying they did a 1-for-4 reverse split last week. They did an offering back in
Here,
January.
Friday. My memory's not completely shot. Thursday, September 19th, wearable devices unveils Mudra Band gesture control for the Apple Watch, offering AI-powered touchless operations for hands-free convenience and enhanced accessibility. Okay. And then on October 11th, wearable devices announced the launch of the Mudra Band for Apple on Walmart.com.
Okay,
so yes, this company, that I knew I remembered that from somewhere. They make a watch band for it.
Gotcha.
Shout out Benzinga Pro, by the way, custom newsfeed filtering, able to find that with the quickness.
Ned, Wilds has what's the read you have on the float? Because I'm seeing it's 814,000 shares, which is small. But if you want to see the smallest you've ever seen, just look at ADTX. That
dude,
that's got a 315,000 share float.
Dude, okay, first of all, just to be clear here, I consider anything under 20 million low float. Anything under a million, we're talking micro float names, okay? Micro float names. Now, you were asking me about WLDS. They did a 1-for-4 reverse split yesterday.
It was last week. Or I'm sorry. No,
That's
you're right.
March
It was
17th.
Effective the 17th. I'm sorry. You're right. They announced it on Thursday.
Well, that's what I'm sorry. Effective is the date that I'm quoting there. But
Gotcha.
In any case, that's why the float is so small.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Same thing with ADTX. Except they did
ADTX did, by the way, isn't this what you said it was going to do earlier? It punched to new highs and immediately pulled back. It punched above 8, and maybe I'm thinking about a different name, but it did exactly that. Punched above 8, came back in.
Asking for resistance on QBTS. Yes. Well, I mean, this pre-market price action that we're coming right up to it. So yeah, I see what you're talking about. It's like 1080, right about there. So if you look at everything that's been going on in the pre-market, look where the lows have been, or the support's been kicking in. That's about 1080, which is right about where the price is trying to get through right now. So I think, good mention asking me about this, because we're there. We're right there at that resistance area.
I had the wrong stock up there. Sorry about that. Here's that 1080 spot on QBTS.
Yeah, you can see that clear as day. And TNXP is still moving up. 17.99 now, the high.
Celsius, after its really good day yesterday. Crow, I know you were riding this up yesterday. Good stuff. A little bit more continuation here today on Celsius. This might have put in its bottom. We've talked about that a few times. This thing down from a massive double top at 100.
Looks like the market's still trying to recover here. But
I agree with Mike's comment here. Mike says pretty organized selling. I'm saying that to Crow, but it does really kind of feel like organized selling here. Crow calling for 40 plus on sell H. Okay, soon.
Let's see here.
Really quickly looking at, dude, if you think that, I'll tell you what, you got the 40 calls for Celsius are a 30-cent ask right now. Hell, the 35 calls are a 90-cent ask.
The 200-day SMA is at 36.45. Other resistance areas I see in sell H look like 35 could be one. 40 basically is like the middle of the consolidation from August of last year. And it's, I mean, you could just draw a line and see how the price interacted with that over the past years. Like in 2023, that was a resistance area before we gapped up, broke through that. So yeah, $40 looking like a really good spot. But I think there's going to be some levels that we're going to be hitting on the way up. Some of the really big levels, like 36, looks like a really potentially strong resistance area. And I say area, not particularly level, because it seems like, plus or minus 25 cents, you could run to the resistance, but 36, definitely a spot to watch for.
Yeah, I think you're dead on with that spot here. Let me mark that off on the chart, because I'm sure we're going to come back to this. Oh my God. I just can't do it. I'm just going to do it manually here. 36 right there on the head. Crow says, I went around all of the gas stations and unplugged the Red Bull refrigerators. We call that guerrilla trading, where you go around and literally sabotage the competitor for the stock that you're in, Crow. That's something else.
ADTX halted to the upside now, broke out of that consolidation.
So I'll tell you what, that 8 yank drop and pop, that's wild. This is halted. Yeah.
ARBE, this thing is on the move now. This is a great break of the trend. Really nice. Shout out to the gentleman or lady that brought ARBE up this morning. It was a great mention.
Boom.
I love it when the technicals work out like that.
What's with the stigmatism with smaller stocks? First it was penny stocks, now it's anything below 10. It's what's working and what's not working. Penny stocks are the only thing I really don't care for. The smaller stocks, I traded one yesterday, Daniel. Traded one yesterday. The thought process here, though, the thesis, at least for trading here, trade the things that you feel that you have an edge on. Some of the movers that we were taking a look, those junkier stocks today, didn't really feel like there was much of an edge, to be quite honest with you. Did you feel that way? We talked about that earlier, 13.
I'm
the
sorry,
movers list today.
Oh, it was a very small amount of movers, so I was only covering a few of them because I didn't feel like a whole lot of other things were going to really be worth a look at.
Yeah, I felt the same there.
I'm just taking a look at Lucid. It's still trying to get over 245 right now, but it's really hammering that level. So we might see it break through, but if we don't, back to the VWAP, I think it goes. For ARBE, looking for the next move that we want is to take out 151. That's the pre-market high. After that, then we get into a bunch of an area of consolidation. Like a lot of the price action from October to December last year is going to be right in, after this breakout over 151. We really start to get into the thick of it in the 170s and 180s. HMR holding strong.
Seeing kind of a mixture of unusual options there on Tesla, both calls and puts. Can't necessarily get a read one way or another. Here's your HMR chart.
Now let's see another move up to 4 in HMR because we don't want to see the MACD roll over. Celsius, that's just ripping right now. Looking for 31.
Called for 40. That at the highs here. I tell you what, those April contracts, not terrible. Not terrible. Y'all sweet on Tesla. Tony, I think you're asking if we like Tesla. I think we're waiting for this to really kind of show a bounce instead of trying to catch the knife here. I think one of the levels that we've talked about here, 200. I don't know if that qualifies us as being sweet on it, though.
Yeah, I'm not looking to get in bed with it, if that's what you mean. I still think 200's in the cards, but we may see some support come in around 218. I was getting support around there earlier last week. We couldn't close under that area. All right, looks like the market is trying to turn around as well. And
Anne-Marie had mentioned here, volume profile suggests stops were run this morning on that market. So if the stops were run and it looks like the market's turning around, maybe that's what we got here.
Yeah, I do want to see the SPY recapture 562. That'd give me more confidence that we have turned around. We're going to trade up, but
okay.
Until that happens, going to keep my head on a swivel.
Okay.
ADTX. I wonder how much time we have left in this halt. Let's see. So Vink, that's much lower now. HMR still haven't been able to get to 4. TNXP hit 1807 and turned around, but it's not selling off.
ADTX has resumed and gone higher. Looks like it tried for 9, could not quite get there.
All right, levels in ADTX. So I think I had mentioned before what levels we were looking for.
We're right at the consolidation zone. I think this was one of them, right? $9 is the top of this consolidation area. Got that as the next spot here. Bottom end of this was $7.75.
I like 940 and then 10. If we hit 940, we're going to enter a gap area. But I feel like some EMAs that are in the way could provide some resistance. So that gap fills from 938 to 1328. That'd be a pretty massive move if we ended up getting that. But don't know if we will.
Okay.
CELH still on a bit of a rip here. Look at the SPY with that move. That's coming back up. Looking for 562. It's almost there. Actually, it's about to knock on the door at 562.
Real quickly here, Ivan saying very few people would like to own a Tesla knowing that it might be vandalized. That's actually an interesting point. Day Trader, I don't know if you're still here, but you had shared a story earlier, Silicon Valley people covering up the emblem as if that's going to do anything. I mean, come on. But that was a good report nonetheless. Not to mention the bad rep it carries worldwide because of Musk. The very much like the Europe trade that Tim Melvin talked about, everyone was hating it. Everyone was hating it. So he started liking it. That you have that type of thing going on with Tesla too. Believe me, it will bounce. It will bounce. Question is when.
Yeah, and where?
Exactly. Ryan in 13, do you guys know how companies made their stocks go up insanely high and halted until after hours? I don't. I don't off the top of my head. I think some of that is an individual basis. Sometimes the traders end up running those things into halts.
Yeah, and those halts will get longer, and sometimes they'll halt for a different reason, like news pending, or they'll ask the exchange to halt for release of material news. So they can, companies can just have their stock halted if they're by requesting it. And then unless it's like a news pending, they don't have volatility halts in the after hours, right? So if they unhalted it, then that would be the company requesting the unhalt. All right, almost to 562. We actually may have tested it here in the SPY.
Did not break and close above it yet.
Not breaking above it, but okay, here we are. We're at 562.
All we had to do was talk about it, 13.
Right?
It's literally all we had to do.
Let me see what you're asking about here with QBT.
Brad says that sounds like a good reason to move from Silicon Valley. Amen.
If it's not respecting the 1080 resistance, might go for the gap fill at previous close of 1110 or 1118. Well, if it's, I don't know what you mean by respecting. Even if it just completely goes right through the resistance, where does it run to? I think that's what you're asking. Let's see here, because there is a bit of a trend here with the price action from yesterday's, toward the end of the day, and the pre-market this morning. So we've got a bit of a trend here. It looks like it's the 1080 resistance is being respected already. It's been getting respected for almost a half hour now, and then now it's pulling. So I'd say the respect is quite there. But I'll still answer your question. If this does break 1080, then I see your point about 1118, but I feel like 1115 is going to be first. And I know it's nitpicky to talk about just a few cents, but to me that's where the big area of resistance looks like it's going to start to kick in is 1115. So I would just say that if we do break 1080, then 1115, 1118 might be the next resistance. But that's not going to be the case right now because this thing is selling off.
Real quickly here before we go over to Anne-Marie, I'm not sure how many of you folks are college basketball fans. Let me know who you guys think is winning the tournament. Any big upset picks out there from the group? Curious. Not trying to take away from the trading here, 13. Just trying to throw that out there.
No worries.
Jane, nice job on HMR. I'm assuming you closed that there for a gain here today. It looks like you did. You will get your sound effects here today.
TQQQ really selling off. That means SQQQ is really ripping up.
I took a look at that earlier. I'm still watching both of these tickers here today. TQQQ is the one that I'm kind of waiting on. I want to go long and I want it to be extended from the VWAP. We did get one opportunity earlier, but I was a little too early. I still think we're going to get another one today. I still think we are.
We could end up getting a double rounding bottom with TQQQ. That could be something that we get. So
that would be sick, actually.
Let's see what happens when it gets down to the 5930s. We're really selling off now.
By the way, Izzy on Amazon 2 for 2. That's impressive. Amazon really hasn't been all that great here today. Really good job buying the pulls, buying the lows, and giving yourself good entry in there. Okay, Gary, you think Florida wins? I've got them picked in one of my brackets. Crocodile Dumb Me says Houston. We'll see. We'll see on Houston. Neo, by the way, this dipped right out of the open, right back to those pre-market highs. Neo reports earnings on Friday before the market opens. I'm sure we'll take a look at Neo on Friday morning. Maybe we should ask Mark Petrino about the chart. We'll see. San Diego State upsets UNC tonight. Gary, I know what I'll have on TV. It'll be that or Oak Island.
Tesla really, it's making new lows for the day. Looking for 220.
I've got this still above the lows here. Oh, you're saying it looking to make, I'm sorry. I just misread what you said. Yeah, I just misread it. No Tony, worries. You're enjoying it. That's good, man. We enjoy you. You should stop by more often. We like to have conversations about a bunch of different things here. Sometimes we get locked into the trades. Other times I'm a little surly and I'm talking about sports, but we always have a good time here. And our goal here is to make the community better as a whole. It's not about one individual. It's about the community. It's about the group. Which I think is why we have some fun here. Lauren C. Bishop is saying High Point will beat Purdue. I call Purdue don't, so I'm with you on that. The other thing is High Point. I don't know if you folks have seen this, but on CNBC, I see commercials for High Point all of the time, and I've never heard of it before. Now they seem to be in the big dance, kind of rooting for them just on general principle.
Well, ADTX is continuing to rip. It's over 9.
This was a good call for whoever was on this. I was kind of staying away from some of the junkier stocks, but kudos to you folks that were on this one. ADTX, what was the other one?
SCNX.
No, SCNX. I thought it was HMR, the one Jane was just trading. No, it was not SCNX.
I thought you were talking about the movers.
Yeah. There were two movers that really traded well here today. ADTX and HMR.
TNXP didn't do too bad. It might still go higher.
Sorry for interrupting there. Robert, I love all of the support that you give our group here, Robert. You're an asset, and we appreciate it. Hands down the best chat here. Remember to join BZ if you haven't already. The tools are great. Thank you, Kevin. We'll see you, my man. Take care of yourself. Fairchild, we get happy hour this afternoon. I know a lot of you folks have asked about happy hour. Happy hour is more conceptual than kind of reacting to what's going on. So sometimes our conversations veer off into the what could happen or what might happen in the future. Sometimes politics get weaved into it. So if that's something that upsets you, probably not the best spot. But in any case, more conceptual there. I almost think of that as building a foundation, Fairchild, right? If we have a good idea of what's going on across the board, then sometimes some of these movements that we see on a day-to-day basis just make more sense. Take care of yourself, Hellcat.
We've had a lot of really good idea generation come out of happy hour. So it's always worth it to attend and figure out where, collectively figure out where the best plays are and where the market's going. More times than not, they've been spot on.
By the way, Hood calls for May getting swept up here. Multiple repeat sweeps here. Hood, the May 2050 call on Hood. And let me see what the price is on that real quickly.
Izzy, to answer your question, I mean, if you want to take a stab at that Lunar, I'm personally not interested in it at the moment. But you could try, like 625 might be a spot that you could try to enter on that. There's a bit of a gap fill. Well, actually, we already did fill the gap. That's kind of where the gap is filled at. We filled it on March 11th, and then we rebounded. So if we end up coming back down there, you could try that. But it looks like if we do come back down, it's just going to fall right through it. So I don't have any, very many great spots for where to enter with Lunar, because I haven't seen Lunar really give any indication that it's bottoming. I don't think that this price action we've had over the past week is really a good bottoming indicator. It just feels more like a rebound off of some intense selling. So until we get like a more firm base in Lunar, I don't really have a good buy spot for you, unfortunately.
So interesting here. I guess maybe I'll ask Anne-Marie about this, unless Anne-Marie's there. Real quick here, though. So Hood, I was just taking a look at those. I'm looking at the option chain here, and it definitely looks like those May 50s and 45s were bought as part of a spread. So part of me wonders if they bought the vertical there, if they bought the 45s and sold the 50s for a 125 debit. That basically you see Hood moving it above 45, but staying under 50 by May. That's 59 days till the expiry on that contract. Interesting. For those of you that trade spreads, let me know what you think about that. Which ticker are you looking at? 13?
Oh, yeah, 80TX. That hit 10 and then pulled a little bit, but looks like 10 might be a pretty good resistance area and if it breaks through that, then we're gonna, then I'm thinking we fill the gap. That's what I'm thinking.
You may have to have a listen-only mode for happy hour for the preview. That is, Big B's, that's not a bad idea. You know what we might also be able to do is just kind of clip some of the happy hours where we have some really intense idea generation. We might be able to clip that and then throw that out as preview content. Sorry, I'm thinking out loud. That's a great suggestion, Big B's.
Yeah, I mean, we'd have to mark off what time it is so we can get an idea of where those are, so we're not having to watch the whole thing over again and pointing out. But I'll try to write down some times when we're bringing up some really good ideas.
First of all, if you do whatever you're going to do, I don't want to ask you to do more work, because the amount of work that you do creating summaries for the happy hour is so awesome and not something that I was ever able to do when I was hosting that show on my own. So I'm not going to ask you to do more of that. If you find out that you can, I might be able to help make video clips out of it. Just something to put on the back burner, though. No rush there.
No, I'll just write down, because I'm already writing stuff down. I'll just write the time next to it when I'm writing it.
Fairchild says, now you're giving your producer extra hours. Yeah. Sometimes when you just have idea generation, it really just kind of translates into extra hours, doesn't it, though?
Well, one of the things I've liked about, the happy hour is the more people we get in there, the more idea generation we have, the more the group profits.
And there's how many things have we discussed where we didn't even it felt like it was kind of a new discussion, right? Like the Booz Allen Hamilton. Um sorry. My computer is freaking out. Oh, okay. No, it isn't. It's fine.
TNXP, new highs 1818. ADTX, Market Sniper saying about to reverse here. I can feel it. After hitting 1004 and putting in this candle that we're getting here, we've got another minute on it, but this could be a reversal candle that we got here. We'll see what happens in this next minute, but I don't think I'd disagree with you. I think this looks like it could be about to turn around.
Any chicken nuggets in happy hour, like lemon pepper? We do not provide the food, but you know what? If you're going to have some food there after the market is over, I'm not going to blame you. 13, I like how you show up with scotch sometimes.
It is the happy hour.
Good times. It is the happy hour after all.
Yeah, if I'm not driving anywhere in the next couple hours, I'll indulge.
Okay.
There's a news article about a recent large sales of stock by members of Tesla's board and an executive at Tesla. So let's look at the insider selling. See if we can find that.
I've got a loading issue here with the insiders page. I had this yesterday. Let me know if you do too.
Yeah, it's not loading for me. Just give me a second.
God bless it.
RGC might be curling a bit here. I don't want to trade this, but I was just cycling through some of these names and noticed that it may be trying to bottom.
Let me see if the insider tool is working.
Celsius Holdings approaching 31.
Nope. Must be an API endpoint. Let me get that fixed here. How much time do I have before? I got plenty of time to get this before Anne-Marie.
Yeah, everything else seems to be working, so I think you're right. It's just the insider's API.
Yep. It's just the API endpoint, I'm sure.
All right. So we're getting some sideways action with the TQQ and the SQQQ. Well, let's see if there's any government buyers here. Tesla. Looks like I don't know how much you can put behind this move, but Marjorie Taylor Greene picked up more Tesla shares on the 7th.
That seems to just be like a political buy more than anything else, right?
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, I don't think there's anything fundamental that we can gather from that.
Because Gottheimer has been selling his after he bought some in February. So
Gottheimer, by the way, has routinely Unusual Whales posts charts of some of the Congress members that do the most trading. Gottheimer is routinely near the top of that list. In fact, that law firm that we traded last year, that was off a Gottheimer buy, and that worked. that trade actually worked. Real quickly regarding, I think it was Kathy's comment there. I did see here March 10th, we did have a sale of about 55,000 shares of Tesla from one of its directors. The CFO sold on March 6th. Another director sold on March 3rd. And that's it for March.
So they're all selling.
3 insider sales there in March.
They were all selling right before Taylor Greene was buying. I mean, she did do a bunch of buying in January, but the most recent one was on the 7th of this month.
Smoked tuna. Look at this. Smoked tuna. We're getting ready to leave. Smoked tuna with some foreshadowing here. Spy, dark days are ahead. Tuna, we expect you to be a beacon of light amongst those dark days.
Yeah, let it shine, buddy. Apple iPhone sales dropped 21% in China.
That is we've known. I feel like that's not news.
I mean, it's just a headline here that started coming across. I mean, I don't know who's not knowing about that. ARBE, after this break over the trend line, we are back to testing it and VWAP at the same time.
If you're worried about insider sales, don't look at Palantir. That's actually a pretty good point. We had an article about that here this morning. Tons of insiders there are selling.
Yeah, how about what's it called? NVIDIA. I'd like to know what the insider sales look like for that, if there's been any picking up of selling. Well, I think it's time for Anne-Marie.
Yeah, it is. Sorry, I'm just finishing up. I was trying to rope this in here. Go ahead and give us some closing comments for the day here. Then we'll go ahead and move over to Anne-Marie. Let me get this out of here. There we go. All right, take us home here, 13.
Well, folks, it was another fun morning with y'all, and we'll do it again tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll have a more robust list of movers, and if not, we'll just trade these other names that we have been latching onto. So don't lose anything that you've gained. Enjoy the rest of your day, folks. I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Okay, really good stuff here, 13. Thanks again for everything. 13's departure, of course, leaves room for Anne-Marie. Let's go ahead and bring her on now and check in with our options queen. Anne-Marie, happy Tuesday. How are you doing here today?
Happy Tuesday to you. It's been an interesting one for sure, but you called it earlier this morning where you said, hey, look at those tight body candles. And though I thought we would have a stronger bounce, the sellers just came in and just took us right back to the woodshed.
Look at that heat map. This is Woodshed Central.
That's right.
I mean, good Lord. All right. Well, so first of all, and I'm going to start off by thanking you. Appreciate you helping read the tape. Indeed, the tape, not the easiest that we've seen here this morning. I'm 0 for 1 on day trades, although I actually feel pretty good that later in the day I might be able to get that back. So stay tuned. And then also I'm thrilled because one of the positions that I legged into for a potential downturn in weakening consumer is working. So at least we did that well. My question for you here today is, what do you have anything on the docket for stocks to look at here today?
Well, I thought about what everyone else was talking about. A lot of folks looking at those bigger names to see what might be going on. We're coming into Fed speak tomorrow. We're coming into one of the largest OPEXs of the year. We've got commodity and trend trading technical advisors very short right now. Tons of puts getting bought, which could say we have further downside, but if it lifts in a reflexive bounce far enough, it will catch them flat-footed. My thought today in the opening video was buyers were going to be the ones caught flat-footed today because they've been reading, oh my goodness, this is the bottom, this is, hey, listen, every time. And we do have great data on forward pricing, but it's how we get there that becomes the question as the tactical trader moves around. Let's take a quick look at SPY. Actually, you know what? Was it TQQQ that you were trading?
Yeah, and yes, so the example today was from TQQQ, but really depending on what the market does, I choose TQQQ or SQQQ because I don't want to short. I'm just trying to go long. So right. So if the market is selling off, it's TQQQ that's getting depressed and I'm trying to buy it. If it's the inverse, it's SQQQ.
All right. Fantastic. So as we wait until the new dawn of time for the trades to come up, I do want to tell you that we opened the day at negative 608 advancers to decliners. So we began the day with 600 more sellers than buyers, and that number has continually increased. So when you start seeing that happen, anytime the chart starts to go, oh, maybe I'm going to be lifting, it starts building a little base, think to yourself, if the advanced decliners keep moving down, this is going to break lower. And that's exactly what we're seeing. Let's try SPY instead, since the TQQQ has given me a little bit of trouble. Let's go and clean the garbage up. Whoops, not there. Where is that? Setup. Help. Fred Sickles. Help. Collect garbage.
Let's
All
see if
right.
it works.
Yeah. Well, my garbage needs collecting anyway. I collect a lot of it in here. I have to throw it out all the time. But here's what we notice. The VVIX, which is the volatility of the VIX, continues to rise. A lot of folks talking about the VIX saying, hey, you know, the VIX is bottoming. I don't believe the VIX is a good move of what in the world?
I don't know.
All right, let's try it. Let's expand this. I don't think the VIX is a good record or a good chart to tell us how things are going to move. It does tell us how things are currently moving. But the VVIX tells us if, hey, listen, if we're moving to the upside, that's something that tells us more volatility is ahead. And so let's go to the regular charts, the regular chart page here. And let me see if using one of these guys, I don't know, helps me get what I want. So let's try SPY here. And what we really want to see is how are we holding since the pre-market low? And we can see that since the 4-hour candlestick came on from an hourly chart, the SPY has just continued to roll. There are a lot of areas below us. We could be in a choppy bottom because remember, the weekly charts are still telling us the traders are trying to buy that floor. So they might be dipping in front of price action. Who knows? But right now we are moving to the downside. Ryan, I'm going to have to get you to take over.
Yeah, I don't know what
charts.
on earth is going on here. It is like in some of your other, there's the SPY chart right there a second ago. Where was that?
Oh, wait, the SPY came up?
I was just looking at it. Wasn't that? I was just looking at one on the.
Oh,
isn't
there it
this the
is.
SPY chart?
It finally came up. Maybe I need to move from tab to
Well,
tab.
I think it's
so
still
it
trying to load
stuff.
your TTM squeeze and your average true range data, but at least we've got the price chart here.
Yeah. So have a look. This is the base, the area of heavy congestion that we've been sitting in all year. It's been a minute since I drew the little boxes that are multiplicatives. And if this goes down, we got to look at 530 to 535 all the way there. I am actually going to put another alert here. My thought is, you know, that's probably where we're headed in the longer run. So we shall see. But what we do see right here are that were trapped long too. And so as soon as it got up above that area, they said, you know what, I'm going to sell it on the open. And we literally have been moving straight down since then. Do I think we get down into here and bounce again? Yes, I do. Look at how many days it sat in this heavy congestion zone the first time it went in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, moved out for 3 days, 19, 20, 21, 22. This is going to be a roller coaster ride for sure. For sure. Okay.
Now, what was the value of the bottom end of that box there? Did you say it was just under 530?
Yes, just under 530. I
Okay,
like
so
the
maybe
round number, so I kept it at 530.
gotcha.
But
The reason I ask is because one of the things that I was doing on the SPY chart, I was charting some of the different pullback levels, and it turns out that a 15% pullback level equates to 521 and change. So we are
Okay.
within what seems like 8 SPY points of each other on a 15% pullback level and the box technique.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I mean, that's very likely. This particular very bright goldenrod line is the most volume in the chart over the last year. It occurred at that price point. At
Okay. And
578.
that's just a count 52 weeks. That's going all the way back
Yes,
to
52
gotcha.
weeks. 52 weeks.
Gotcha. Okay.
All
Do you
right.
ever yell at that thing, hurry up, goldenrod, or you're going to be a permanent resident? Just an awesome Empire Strikes Back quote that you just reminded me of, so I figured I'd ask.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
All right, sorry for
Absolutely
being
love it.
surly. Let's get back down to brass tacks here.
All right. Yeah. So here's the bottom line. Listen, in this market, dips, big dips are going to be buy zones, no matter where we are. However, how long we get to hold it changes with the personality of the market. Okay. So our ATR has just rocketed up since the end of February. It went to 6 to almost 12, doubling the size, the ATR, which I find to be pure insanity. But it does tell us that volatility is increasing. It's going to continue to stay elevated. And we're just going to start to have getting used to these very big reflexive actions. My thought is that somewhere through the day today, buyers come in, sellers stop, and we have ourselves another reflexive bounce. But until we get above, and I love to use the 8 to 9 a.m. candlestick Eastern time in the SPY, simply because, all right, let's see if this trick works over here and then over here. All right, let's try this one now. All right, this is another one. We have to look at the 8 to 9 a.m. candlestick. It's where most of the news comes out. If we are staring that down, and okay, let's go to the Analyze tab. Now let's go to the Chart tab. I am so sorry, folks.
It's not. I don't even really think it's your fault. I totally get it. Nothing irritates me more than looking at a loading circle when you're presenting to somebody else. There's nothing that irritates me more than that.
All right, and I don't think I have anything zany just gomming up I don't have anything open. That's so weird. All right, let's just go to some price action in general. Okay. We can do a couple of things. All right, this one expires in, let's take a look at SPY. If we go, all right, let's see what's going on. If we think to ourselves, this price action is going to fall even further, look at how much premium is sitting in something that expires in 3 days, 3 trading days, and it's sitting between 560, 550, 540. It has a $2 debit. That is a lot. I have the magic beach ball here for some ungodly reason. Look at that. Not even loading, peeps. Oh. Okay, what just happened?
It is just delayed.
All right. Yeah. Okay, so if we're thinking reflexive or a further fade, I would say, listen, right now we are at, I always forget that word, binary events. Thank you very much. I heard your brain I heard your voice tell me that. So we've got
Telepathy, let's
ourselves
go.
yes, we have a binary event where anything could happen. So the question is, where's your edge? If you can't look at something and go, all right, I suspect we're going to have ourselves a binary event, then you're going to have to say, okay, how do I want to position? Dear heavens. All right, let's try it again. If we're looking for a binary event, then the question might be, do we go to 550 where we see the floor at SPY and we take a big trade like this one here at the 560, 550, 540? Or do we say, maybe it comes in to, maybe I start at the 550 and I move it down so I can have it a little bit on the cheap. Now, the last time we might have been together was last week. We talked about this moving. And so these were quite a bit cheaper. Oh my gosh. What a crash and burn for me this morning.
I think there's something going on with your machine, Anne Marie. We can talk to our tech guys here to look at it. This is not normal.
Yeah. So I have the 550. If we choose 550, 540, 530, because we think it's going to be some, have you looked at the Fed now, or what they think the rates are going to do? Because
CME
I don't
watch
think
tool?
they're going to move. Yes, the CME watch tool.
Yeah, so we haven't looked at that actually recently. We were actually talking about that earlier today. I can go ahead and pull that up here, though, real quick.
Yeah. I think some people are hoping for something that I don't think it's coming. So
yeah, we've got a 99% no hike, 1%, excuse me, 99%
Okay.
no cut, 1% cut.
Okay. All right. So if indeed we look at this and let's say they're saying that, but they're really hoping for something that gives the market a floor. Remember, when bad news stops making the market move lower, we've got ourselves a chance at a good bounce. Right now, that's not what we're seeing. We're not seeing that at all. Oh my word. I wonder if so if we took a move, listen, if you did the spread is $1.40. It's still pretty expensive in general, but if you're thinking that a big outsized move is going to come, it might not be a bad position, but I got to tell you, it could go in either direction. And so it's in an environment like this, I prefer to keep my powder dry, let the big hands shake out what they're going to do, look for the deep areas of support to go long, and then look for the big areas of resistance to go short. We know that that's the 200 in the SPY. We know that that's a pretty important zone. But if you want to position in front of these moves, we could easily end up having a nothing burger and then something crazy. So I say for the big picture event, unless a chart is setting up very nicely, it's best to sit on your hands. So somebody said, hey, gold looks pretty interesting. Yes, it does. But here's something also very interesting. In the last 4 trading days, I have seen more gold articles popping out with the brand new high than I have seen in months. Now, when it bounced off of 2,500, I started seeing a bunch of things like that. I'm talking about GC, the gold futures.
Mhm.
But now that they're above 3,000, what I see are late traders to the party who are going to have their neck stepped on, just like the late buyers to the party today in SPY and some of whatever. If you're staring down gold and you're thinking, listen, this is going to be a great trade, I would look at a leap. I would look at a leap and
Okay.
I would say, all right, we've got 279. 300 is a big fat round number. If you're thinking, hey, let me go out there, you go 300, give yourself 30 points of motion because it could go, pretty high. And for a leap, you've got $370 exposure for a potential $3,000 move. And so what the leap does here is ease out the gigantic fluctuations in price of your butterfly. The leap butterfly also eliminates theta erosion, which is something that we will see very, very often in these sorts of longer term leaps. That's the big thing that you have to worry about is theta decay when you have a leap. But putting on a butterfly with a wide spread going to completely eliminate theta. Absolutely. And so if you want it a little tighter, because you think to yourself, well, I don't know that it's going to go to 330, you could also say, hey, let me try 320. That's also a nice number. If you go 320 to 340, it's $2. And so $208 for a potential $2,000 total move to the upside. Not a bad idea. What I think you've noticed potentially in the way that I am moving right now, I'm either looking at very quick strike trades that show,
Mhm.
hey, this might bounce in the next couple of days, get in, get out, or this might fade in the next couple of days, get in, get out, or let's go all the way back to the future and say, we know that markets eventually bounce. Let's find some areas of support that are going to hold and let's position there from a longer term perspective. And I really believe that that's what's going to happen. I do believe the whole market needs a repricing, a
Mhm.
recalibration, and so that is something super important. Let me go back to my charts and let me minimize this, see if my other things come up. We could look at what's happening. See, advanced decliner still fading. So even with the big bounce that we just had off the lows,
Mhm.
it's telling us, hey, listen, just set up for a short because it's likely to come if we continue to rotate downward. So we can look at I got to tell you, one of my favorite gold plays is Agnico Mines. I think I'm saying it wrong. I think it
AEM.
might be Anico. Yeah. I think the G is silent. And I just learned that. But this is a great um this is a really very strong performing, lots of options and lots of option volatility that we could trade into the space. I do think it's going to break down. Someone says, would breaking the wings, oh, it's Amanda, would breaking the wings a little bit one way or the other on these leap flies make theta work in our favor? All depends on where the prices are at, right? That is very, very important. It's a good question, but it's very relative to price motion. I would say leave it even. Um, yeah, I think this is the best gold stock because it performs the best. So let's say you're thinking to yourself, all right, rates don't come down and gold takes a dip, right? That's what we're expecting.
Mhm.
If rates do come down, gold continues to move. If rates don't come down, I don't know. I think gold rolls over anyway. But what you could do is wait for the rate event. And then when it fades, take a look at where the option chains are sitting. There are 3,600 at the 100 level. If it really collapses and it goes to 95, buying that 100 or buying the 100 105 spread could get uber cheap. Uber cheap, and you can save it just for the couple of days, because come Friday, we're going to have another kapow when we start seeing billions of dollars rotate into the June spreads. So super, super interesting. Let's take a look at Palantir and think about things from a downside perspective. I'm so sorry not to have the charts. The Palantir trade that I have sitting here is the March 28th 80 75 70 butterfly. It's like 60 cents, and it's been dancing around at 60 cents for days. I actually think it was about maybe 45 cents yesterday, but it's really dropped. It's come back and gaining some traction after the fade today. That might be not. I own qubits, and I'm very happy that it might go to 12. I've just bought some of that and laid it in the under a box, so I never look at it. Let's see what's happening. No, listen, I bought that at $1.27. Yeah,
Not bad.
yeah,
Not bad.
I'm
Way to
pretty happy.
stick that in your back pocket and
From
wait for a
you
sunny
guys,
day.
I found that one last year on Happy Hour in the Benzinga Pro platform.
Amazing. You know what? I can't thank you enough for sharing that, because it's always easier for people to share the things that we were wrong about. But it's awesome that we were able to get you a 10 bagger, Anne Marie.
Yes, I'm so happy. I'm hoping it turns to a 100 bagger, but we'll see.
I hope it does too.
Yeah. In the meantime, every new high I trim. So there we have it.
Well done.
So if we take a look at this and we go, all right, that's 60 cents. I'm not really sure it's going to go, but with all that insider selling that you just talked about, let me see if this stinker does what it's supposed to here. Look, I have Palantir down here at the bottom. I have a test of 79.40, 79.44. It is bouncing off of it because I think the market's really trying to put in a bottom, but I think they're going to sell every single bounce. And the next one up will be really good. I do like GDX also. That's a great place to have gold miners. It's pretty solid, but I do think we're going to have we can sort of go, see you later, gold. I'll be back later. And broad money is also going to do that and pull us. I would say the gold futures contract, I would not be surprised to see it $100 lower over the next several days. Easily.
I look at the GLD chart, and to me, I can't help it. It kind of looks like a blow off top to me. So
it absolutely is.
Yeah, so I kind of like the rolling over area. That it looks like that to me.
Yeah, certainly. And so if you say, hey, I just want to go flat out short, you can go out and get yourself a pretty nice spread in GLD to the tune of, I don't know, $25, $30 lower. You don't know. 13 says, do we expect to see gold move into every upcoming rate decision?
That's a good question.
That's a pretty hard question, because the reason that gold is moving up is not people being nervous about risk. It's the repatriation of the product into U.S. soil. COMEX took, what's the number? 100 metric tons this last week. moved it into 5 vaults.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
this is what 13 was saying earlier, right? Gold and silver coming into the US in droves, a lot coming from the UK. Gold is air freighted, but silver's brought in on ships. I think
Yep.
this is what you're talking about.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And so this repatriation, I think it's going to cause an unbelievable silver short squeeze because get this, there are 10 times more derivatives in silver being sold than the physical product that can be presented for delivery. Right now, if you take your silver contract and you go, I want to collect that, they've got you on a 6 to 12 week wait on average.
Wow.
And yeah, and because this is an endemic problem, we could see something really big happen in the next year with silver. It's a little bit scary, actually. It's a little bit of a scary space. Gold has the same problem too, because
Okay.
once they fractionalized gold, we're now trading the derivative, not the raw product. So blah blah blah. All right. That's for the Palantir downside. 60 cents. You could say, hey, listen, $500 upside, $60 of risk, 2 weeks of waiting, or sorry, 10 days of waiting. It's worth it to me. You could definitely do it. I'm totally with you, 13. Totally with you on that. We could look at Nvidia, or we could look at you want to look at Reddit?
I wanted to look at Reddit real quick. I know we're short here on time, so we're
Yes.
probably
Oh,
going to
yeah.
have to
Sorry.
speed this
Yeah.
up here.
No
The
problem.
reason I wanted to look at Reddit real quick is because it sure seems to me like Reddit is in the process of rolling over back towards its 200-day. And as far as a trade goes, I was thinking, well, we're either going to bounce or we're going to break down from this 200-day, I would imagine. Wow, it's even closer. We're down 11% here on Reddit. This is going to happen here today. So what I was thinking is, what do we do at the 200-day here on Reddit?
We should have a reflexive bounce, but I think it's going to set up another short.
Okay.
So let the bounce come and then put the short on.
Okay. Well, then you know what? I get that. That's perfect. Let's table Reddit till Friday.
Okay.
Let's get a
perfect.
couple of more
Got
days of data in here. We'll see what happens at the 200-day, and then let's reassess. That also works out for our timing right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, thanks everybody. I'm so sorry about my charts being so badly behaved.
It's okay. It's totally fine. And I do think we can help you with that. That definitely seems like there's something on the machine. Actually, you know what, Anne-Marie, stick around for a sec. I'm going to slack you a warning that I saw for Apple products. It just requires an update. So don't worry. Maybe that'll solve it. I'll go ahead and slack that to you. Anne-Marie, thanks for everything here today. We will catch up with you again on Friday. Have a great rest of your week. All right.
All right, friend. You too. Bye.
All right. That is Anne-Marie Band. We're gonna have her back on Friday, and we're gonna check out Reddit. I'll make sure that gets on the board. No Paul Meeks today. So we're going to redirect the show to the NVIDIA GTC keynote speech, which starts at 1 p.m. Eastern. That starts here in a little bit. I'm going to redirect you. No reason to go anywhere. Folks, thanks to everyone for your support, for everything here today. Stay green, stay safe. We'll see you again tomorrow.